Because I was going.
Yeah, no, I did. It was really fun.
Oh, wow, now
All
we
the
know.
quick trips before meetings.
Oh, we
and
used to
stuff.
eat dinner. That was the highlight of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Scholar Bowl stuff. We ate dinner together. Nice eating.
Yeah.
It was fun. We know.
Now we're good?
It'd be good if you have the output on.
Okay.
In my case, just turn the computer on, so. Okay, we'll call the Granite City School Board meeting of April 26, 2022 to order, please. Roll call, Zach?
Stacy, absent. Vinny,
Here.
Knoble,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
none here. McMaster.
Here.
Wilmsmeyer.
Here.
Forbes.
Here.
We have fun.
Thank you. Let us please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Pastor Carla Frost from St. John's United Church of Christ. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. You are steadfast in love, O God, always ready to receive our prayers. Tonight we begin our prayer lifting to you the life of Jamie Kindle, a beloved, kind-hearted, funny, totally dedicated elementary teacher who touched so many lives in her 27 years of service. We now mark her death on April 17th and honor her life with a moment of silent reflection. With gratitude for Mrs. Kindle's commitment to education, we ask you to bless all who continue to work in and for education in our community. Inspire them to inspire the minds and hearts of all with the joy of learning. Guide the decisions made tonight and daily for the respectful benefit of the greatest good, whether easy or not. May kindness be the norm. As graduation approaches and special events, activities, and sports abound, may sensible safety prevail and celebrations reflect hopes for the future. Thank you for receiving this and all our prayers, O God, and granting us your compassionate peace, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Frost.
Thank you so much.
so much. No, he's,
Not easy to follow that, Pastor. Thank you so much.
thank you for being here tonight.
Well, it sounds like she was a wonderful teacher, and remembering Christy Dawson, been a little over a year now.
Yes.
Christy's birthday would have been the 30th of April, so she was a member of our
We're wearing
congregation.
shirts, we're wearing shirts this week to
Yes, to honor
celebrate.
her.
I have one at home, but I didn't
We're
wear it
wearing
for
ours
this.
on Thursday, so I feel, yeah, so
So,
she was a great loss for both
Yeah.
of them.
yes, it's difficult, and yet we continue to move forward for the good of the community as they would have wanted.
And in their spirit, both of them were very kind-hearted and loved children, so.
And they would be with you as you move forward for the good of all the school community and the whole community and area. That's what they would want, for everyone to work together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate that. At this time, we'll move forward with public comment. If anybody here tonight for public comment? I don't think we received anything.
No, we didn't.
Ms. Cannon, okay. All right, hearing no public comment, have a few awards to give out this evening.
Yes, we do.
Recognition.
We're going to start with, there were some testing issues
Principal Depew told me about some of the state scholars. We wanted to recognize, I know Lawson Kimball cannot be here tonight, I think he is out of town, but I wanted to make sure that he received his certificate of achievement for the Illinois State Scholar. So we'll make sure we get this to him and his family. I just wanted to make sure he was recognized as well, so. I
Congratulations.
know, good job, Lawson. Also, Mr. Warrior, I do believe, right, Mr. Warrior?
Yes, he was Mr. Lloyd.
Right, okay. Okay, so next, I'm gonna come out here, we are going to talk to Jamie Pamitot, if she would come up, who was named the 21-22 Illinois High School Scholastic Bowl Coaches Association Class AA Coach of the Year. So come on up. And just so you know, there are over 200 AA school teams that she was named Coach of the Year, so that's like a really big deal. And this is your third regional win, correct?
Yes.
So I want to talk about the regional win as well. It's the giant plaque. Look at this. Scholastic Bowl Class 2A Regional Champs.
That's super.
Max, were you a member of the team?
I was not.
Oh, I was gonna make you come over here. I'm just kidding. He does so many other things like
He does.
But that is incredible. Do you want to name the members of the team or some of them or captain?
Our captain is Lily Relicky, and she's played all 4 years with
She's amazing.
Jaden Wing.
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Logan Light has played all 4 years as well.
I'm not sure.
Lexi Kuntz and Shane Tiemann joined their sophomore years, and they were both big assets to the team when they joined. But yeah, they've all done fabulous. It's gonna be really hard to have a banquet at the end of the year because I've grown so attached to them.
Well, I was a Scholar Bowl coach too, and you spend so much time with them. Like we were just talking about how they have dinner either before or
Yes.
after. You talk to them through it. You sit back and go, why don't they know the answer to that? In the back, it's very stressful sometimes. So I did that for 10 years. So I know how hard her job is, and so it makes that award even more important. So I know they didn't give her one, which is not right. So we had to make sure we did something as a district, right? So this, I know it isn't big. Maybe I'll get a bigger frame.
Oh, no,
or
that's
something.
fine. Thank
But
you.
this is to present to you as on the 26th day of April as the Illinois High School Scholastic Bowl Tom Durbin Class AA Coach of the Year. You know, right? She
Hold
doesn't
on.
want to drop that.
There we go.
There we
There we
go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool.
Thank you so much for being there for the kids, and I know they adore you. So thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Good
Thank
job.
you.
I have these. I have an important one. Goodness. Okay. I want to make sure I read this correctly here. Okay. Okay. We wanted to talk about something that happened in the Granite City High School cafeteria. Mr. Depew, do you want to come up too, maybe? Principal Depew is going to come on up too. You know a little more about this than I do. You're going to give the scenario and lead up to it for me?
Yes, so during lunch one day, one of our students was choking on some of his meal and was in need of some care, and he walked directly over to our school resource officer, Officer Cave, and he could tell that he was struggling, choking. Officer Cave performed the Heimlich maneuver immediately on this young man, and it was I think just one thrust, and he was able to clear his airway, and the young man is doing very well.
I was very appreciative, and just knowing that you're there and you know how to do those things. I mean, I know it doesn't seem, but if you think about what might have happened had you not been there, so we want to call you up to give you express our gratitude for you being there. Officer Cave, not only during this time, but he is at the school and really has positive relationships with the kids. And we're supposed to move because the photographer told us. He has good
Then
kids.
Mr. Wonsmeyer is in the
No,
photos.
I'm doing it.
All right,
He
here we
just
go.
does a great job at the school, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have him there, and we're really proud of
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. So there you go, sir.
Thank you. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, here we go.
Can we get a picture
picture with his girls.
I was giving
You was
just
crying.
stole that, right?
I'm so sorry.
No, that's great. Let's have the whole family come up. I think everybody should come and we'll get out of the picture.
Family photo.
I think, because look, did you miss soccer practice? She missed soccer practice to come. But this is a big deal, right?
Absolutely,
You know?
there needs to be a photo.
All right, family
Oh,
photo.
yeah, we can kind of hang out a little bit here. Okay. Okay, so thanks for all that tonight. We couldn't, I love
Officer
when we
Kate,
have.
great job. Thank
Oh,
you so much for
he's
doing what you
amazing.
did. That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
He does a
Appreciate
great
it.
job. Just
And
one
Miss
more
Pamatot,
example.
wonderful job as well.
Thank
That's-
you.
It's just, it's great. It's great to see.
I think
somebody-
the fact that the students recognized the importance
That
of
you
the
were there.
Heimlich as well as your position, and the fact that anyone can learn that
Mhm.
if they learn during these sessions that they're going to have. So it's really important.
Thank you.
And you being there and knowing that he had a place to go means everything. So we really, I can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. They don't. Okay.
All right, minutes? All right, moving on to the minutes. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Education on March 22nd, 2022.
So moved.
Second,
Motion on a second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vinny,
Aye.
Knogle,
aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMaster, Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Consent agenda, we have items on the consent agenda. We can pull any of those off if anybody wants to talk about them individually. Would like to say that we have had a very nice gift from the Vasich Meat Market.
Right, Pete Novacich, he was a former board member. He is always supportive of the school. I know his daughter does work here, but I think I could call him and he would always do something to support the school district. So we really appreciate that. He donated the hot dogs for our ESL parent engagement night. So I just wanted to make sure we recognized him for that.
Very good. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMaster, Vinny,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8A, rescind retirements. That's right, neither am I.
Okay, good. Mr. President, the board, it is recommended that the following retirements and resignations be rescinded. Ms. Carla Finkus, physics teacher, GCHS, rescind effective 23-24 school year. Approval is recommended.
So moved. Second. You got that, Zach?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMaster, Vinny,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8B, retirements and resignations.
And is recommended, Mr. President of the board, that the following retirements and resignations be accepted, although with sadness, all these people are great assets to the district. Carla Finkus, physics teacher, GCHS, end of 21-22 school year. Olivia Solanik, paraprofessional at Prather, retirement 4/30/22. Randall Anderson, custodian at Coolidge, retirement 6/30/24. And Melissa Ray, secretary and attendance, GCHS, effective 6/3/22.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Nunn, I, McMaster, Vinny,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. And item 8C, request for leaves of absence.
Mr. President and board, it is recommended that the following requests listed below for leaves of absence be approved.
So moved.
Second,
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McMaster.
Aye.
Vinny,
Aye.
Knogle,
aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8D, request for extensions to leaves of absence.
Mr. President, the board, it is recommended that the following requests for extensions to leaves of absence be approved. Karen Uraste, fifth grade teacher at Brixby, effective 4/3/22 to 6/26/22. Renee Wiedner, paraprofessional at Prather Pre-K, effective 3/15/22 to 9/14/22.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vinny,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, aye, McMaster's, Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8E, extracurricular, I'll try that again, resignations for secondary for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, we are recommending that the following extracurricular resignations be accepted for the 22-23 school year. Ms. Christy Moe, GCHS Business Department Chair, Alan Kurgan, Coolidge Junior High School Assistant Wrestling Coach, and Katie Parker, GCHS Hockey Club Sponsor.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vinny,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, aye, McMaster's, Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8F, extracurricular assignments for the GCHS, for 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, the Granite City High School Administration is recommending the following extracurriculars for the 21-22 school year. Earl Clark, Assistant Girls Track Coach.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, aye, McMaster's.
Aye.
Vinny,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8G, extracurricular assignments for GCHS for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, the Granite City High School Administration as well as the Board Administration is recommending the following extracurriculars for the 22-23 school year. Mr. Bruce Frank, Driver's Ed Department Head, Kyle Thompson, Assistant Football Coach, Bill Peasy, Assistant Cross Country Coach, Eric Hill, Assistant Athletic Director, Lindsay Doolittle, Hockey Club Sponsor, Kendra Bristol, Business Department Chair.
So moved.
Second?
Is that Vinny?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, we're all speak up later.
Eric is good, I guess.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Vinny.
Roll call, please.
Curran,
Aye.
none, aye, McMaster's. Vinny,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8H, certified and classified substitutes.
Mr. President of the Board, it is recommended that the following applicants be board approved as substitutes, yay, for the 21-22 school year and hopefully next year. Certified, Ms. Catherine Henderson and Ms. Megan Lilly.
So moved.
Second.
It's getting weird. You should be saying
Jinx.
jinx.
Slow.
You say jinx at some point.
I'll figure it out
It's happening.
today. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
None, aye,
Aye.
McMaster's. Vinny,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 8I, yeah, do we want to go to a report of this before we actually go to, do you want us to have Mr. Matthews talk first? or-
Actually, we'll have him start when we talk about the intermediate schools teaching.
Okay, all right,
Okay?
very good. So item 8I is employment for the 22-23 school year for Coolidge Junior High School. Seventh grade language arts teacher.
Yes. So the interview committee consisting of Patrick Curry, Mike Dowdy, Kristen Novachis-Caverna, and Laura Pavlovek held an interview for the 7th grade language arts position at Coolidge for the 22-22 school year. They are recommending Brian Welser for the Coolidge Junior High School 7th grade language arts teacher position for the 22-22 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McMaster's.
Aye.
We are
Vinny,
supposed to-
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, aye, Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Do we want to have him do it now? Just
Yes.
keep going.
We could do it now, but it really has to do with the more of the elementary positions. But we'd like to have Mr. Mathis. Are you online, Mr. Mathis?
Hiya.
Let me tell him a little bit. We instituted a new interview procedure this year, sort of a process. It includes different people. I'm going to have Mr. Mathis explain. I had my ed team, which I'm going to talk about later in the presentation. They developed this interview process, we worked on it together, and they implemented it. So I'm going to have him explain a little more about that right now.
So what we looked at is kind of a structural change into the way how we traditionally did interviews in the district. We found ourselves with kind of a blunt situation where we had 9 openings for teaching, and we had over close to 50 candidates apply for jobs. We wound up with 47 applicants. Of those, what we did is we solicited principal feedback, ed team feedback, and feedback from the superintendent, and got down to 24 possible candidates. In the past, what would happen is that each of those candidates would then have to go to each school site and interview with a hiring team. What we did is we centralized that process and brought the principals to central office. So if a candidate was interested in interviewing for a first and second job at both Wilson and Maryville, also a third and fourth job at both Frohart and Mitchell, and also a fifth and sixth position at Grigsby, they could come down and have all three of those interviews within the same block of time. So they would go from hiring committee to hiring committee and sit down and do the interview with the building principals and one member of central office. That is a change that happened in the past. Several years ago, we made a change where it's a one-tier system now, where they interview with central office and building leadership. So in order to prevent these people from having to travel from building to building, that was the way that we did it this time. We solicited feedback afterwards from the principals and the participants, and everyone seemed to really appreciate the fact that they could just come one time and do it all at once. And then speaking to the positions that you're going to hear, items 4 and 5 that will be coming up in a few minutes, the elementary positions, some of those are replacements, but some of those positions are also class size reduction positions to try to get down the class sizes at the first, second, third, fourth grade level as kind of a COVID intervention to help teachers have smaller class size and be able to do more small group instruction. And the interventionist position you're going to hear about is a direct result of teacher input and the data indicating that those are the students most impacted by COVID and learning loss. So we have this golden opportunity where we have all of those students in one spot for a year. So these interventionists, their target is to improve reading levels at those grade levels.
We're very excited not only about the process, but about the opportunity to do these types of things to help our kids in the district. I'm just thrilled that we are able to do this, that grant funding has really helped. It is for COVID.
This would be huge.
It's just a really big deal. We're hoping that we may have some more coming up as well. So thank you, Mr. Mathis and my whole ed team for being involved in that. I spoke with several of the candidates as they were coming and going. I mean, they were sincere in saying, this is wonderful. Sometimes they would have one interview. One girl said she had one interview, and then she was like, well, I could change that up. I didn't really answer everything I wanted to. So in the second one, she was able to improve upon her first interview and maybe even on the third. So I think that opportunity, and to be in front of different people at one time, it makes it much less subjective in the hiring process. It's very transparent. They rate them, and it just went extremely well. So thank you, Mr. Mathis and team.
Fantastic. And thanks for coming up with this new process, so that's great,
Yeah.
wonderful.
I think the word is out to
I know.
our school district.
Yes, they were happy to come here. That's what Ms. Canoga was saying. I had several candidates say to me, I've heard really great things about the district, and I really wanted to interview here. So that couldn't have made me happier.
Yes.
So just knowing that people wanted to come here and having almost 50 with a teacher shortage, to have 50
Never has
candidates.
had, never has happened.
I mean, it's just fabulous. So I'm really proud. You should be really proud that we're doing so well and that people want to come into this district and help. So
Absolutely. Great job, all around. Item 8I-2 is the employment of Coolidge Junior High School 7th and 8th grade STEM teacher, or teachers, 2 for the 22-23 school year.
this is all part of the new electives that we've been able to reinstitute at Coolidge Junior High School, which I'm very happy to be able to do too. Mr. President of the Board, the interview committee consisting of Patrick Curry, Mike Dowdy, Kristen Novachis-Caverna, and Jennifer Duco held interviews for the Coolidge Junior High 7th and 8th grade STEM teacher positions for the 22-23 school year. We are recommending Dennis Holland for the 7th grade STEM teacher position and Brian Haerr for the 8th grade STEM teacher position for the 22-23 school year. I know they were very excited about these two individuals, so approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McMasters.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
None. I. Womsnar.
Aye. Item 8I-3 is the employment of Coolidge Junior High School 8th grade art teacher for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, the interview committee consisting of Patrick Curry, Mike Dowdy, Kristen Novachis-Caverna, and Jennifer Duco also held an interview for the Coolidge Junior High 8th grade art teacher position for the 22-23 school year. We are recommending Ann Michalski for the Coolidge Junior High 8th grade art teacher position for the 22-22 school year.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters, Wolfmeyer.
Aye. Item 8I4 is the teachers here that Mr. Mathis was referring to earlier, some of them. This is the employment of elementary or intermediate school teaching positions for the 22-23 school year, and there are 9 of them.
Yes. Mr. President of the Board, the interview committee, which we talked about, consisting of Mark Lowe, Jason Baker, David Keel, Karen Robertson, Lisa Yarborough, Kristen Devachis-Caberna, Jody Batson, and Steve Mathis, requested board approval for the following applicants to serve for the 22-23 school year, pending the submission of their required paperwork. First grade teacher, Maryville, Kim Bailey. Second grade teacher at Maryville, Heather Bomey. First grade teacher at Wilson, Caleb Briddick. First grade teacher at Maryville, Megan Bussey. Fourth grade teacher at Mitchell, Heather Key. First grade teacher at Wilson, Mackenzie Metter. Sixth grade teacher at Grigsby, Angela Russell. Third grade teacher at Frohart, Lauren Smith. Fifth grade teacher at Grigsby, Ashley West.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a quick little, I've taught some of these students. They were outstanding students. And one of them, Ms. Bailey, I'm gonna brag on her for a second. She taught my son how to read in pre-K. And I'm thrilled to see her as a parapro now coming into
It's
the
really neat
classroom.
that she's moved in. I think that's really
This is an
admirable.
outstanding group of
I know.
hires. I'm really excited.
We're really excited. The interview committee couldn't wait to come down in time, so it's really, really cool. So, thank you.
Wonderful process. No more discussion. Roll call, please. Okay.
Knogle,
Here, I'm sorry. I'm
She's so
so
excited.
excited, yeah.
Curran,
Aye.
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wolfmeyer.
Item 8I5, which is the employment of Granite City High School social studies teacher for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, the interview committee consisting of Mr. Steve Mathis, Mr. Darren Depew, Ms. Nikki Petrillo, and Mr. Vince Willeret respectively request board approval for the following applicant to serve as a high school social studies teacher for the 22-23 school year, pending the submission of the paperwork. Ms. Mallory Glass.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wolfmeyer.
Aye. Item 8I6, which is the employment of Granite City High School physics teacher for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, the interview committee consisting of Mr. Darren Depew, Ms. Nikki Watkins, Mr. Tim Moran, and Ms. Amy Heath held an interview for the GCHS physics teacher position for the 22-22 school year. We are recommending Chad Alexander for this position for the 22-22 school year.
So moved.
Second. Go ahead.
Curran.
You got all that?
Yeah, it's like
All
a
right.
harsh.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Wolfmeyer.
Aye. We have no old business tonight, and we have quite a few things under new business. Item 10A is breakfast after the bell opt-out hearing authorization.
The administration is seeking authorization to notify the State Board of Education in Illinois and publish on the district's website notification of a public hearing on June 28th at 5 p.m. and the regular Board of Education meeting regarding the Granite City School District opting out of the breakfast after the bell mandate for fiscal hardship reasons. It is concurrent with the Public Act 990850. There's a timeline. We authorize ISB the meeting on April 26th, May 24th. We have a cost analysis presented to the Board of Education, and June 28th we hold a public hearing and pass resolution to opt out of the breakfast after the bell. Mr. Surrey, do you want to talk about how this is a regular annual thing that we do?
Yeah, we just do it every year. This is just to start the process. We'll present a report to the board next meeting in May, and then we'll hold the hearing in June and opt out. This does not mean anybody will not get breakfast.
That's right.
It just means we do it before the bell.
Yes, so I guess from the timing perspective, Mr. Surrey, is that at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock during the regular board meeting?
Oh, it's at 6. I'm sorry,
That's
that's
right.
the agenda item. It'll be at 6
Oh, I
o'clock at
just
the
saw
regular
that.
board meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Second.
Good catch, Mr. Rosemeyer.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, I, Wolfmeyer.
Aye. Item 10B is contractual vision, itinerant, orientation, and mobility training services.
Mr. President, the board, in order to be compliant with federal and state mandates in regard to individual education plan services, I am requesting that we enter into a contract with Region 3 Special Education Cooperative to provide itinerant vision services and orientation and mobility training. These services continue to be provided by Ms. Ellen Nickel. This additional contract with Region 3 covers the itinerant vision services as well as orientation and mobility training, in which Ms. Nickel is not licensed to provide. These additional contractual service will be charged to the IDEA Part B grant. If you have any questions, I know Ms. Watkins could answer those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, I, Wolfmeyer.
Aye. Item 10C is a memorandum of understanding with Schnucks Market for the STEP program for the 22-23 school year.
Before I start this, I'm really thankful that Schnucks is allowing us to participate with them in this. It really gives these kids a great chance to do something. So that being said, Mr. President of the Board, the administration is requesting approval to enter into a memo of understanding, an MOU, with Schnucks Markets, Inc. The parties to this MOU will collaborate to allow training opportunities at the Granite City Schnucks location for individual students in the Granite City High School's pre-employment training program, also known as STEP. The purpose of this collaboration is to offer extensive pre-employment training in positions that Schnucks and most supermarkets do hire. The MOU specifies roles and responsibilities of the parties as they work in collaboration with the students. The Granite City School District will designate staff to support participants in this free training program. Staff salaries will be supported through the IDEA Part B grant funds. Approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second. Great program.
It is wonderful.
Any discussion? Other than, again, to thank Schnucks.
I know, I just think that they are really good local supporters of school districts and wherever they are, so we really appreciate it.
It's wonderful. Roll call, please.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Wolfmeyer.
Aye. Item 10D is creation of a job coach position.
I don't think I'm gonna read all this. I'll read the beginning, and if you have any questions, I know that Ms. Watkins is online. I think this is a really great thing. The Special Education Administration is requesting the creation of a full-time job coach position for the Special Education Vocational Training Program, similar. Currently, this special education program has one part-time coach position to assist the vocational needs of our high school students. With this creation of the Ground City Cafe, which is located in the high school, and the expansion of the vocational training opportunities, both on and off campus, like Schnucks, they have identified the need for a full-time job coach. It will be in addition to the part-time job coach. The qualification, additional responsibilities are listed below, and once again, this will be paid for out of IDEA Part B grant funds.
So moved.
Second.
It's really cool.
Super.
I know.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
none, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wolfmeyer.
Aye. Item 10E, school calendar for the 22-23 school year.
Okay, Mr. President of the Board, 3 possible calendar options were provided. You can see them attached. Local 743 teachers and certified, Local 98 custodial, classified, and Local 4956 secretaries have voted, and the recommended calendar was C. Professional learning days will continue to be provided to our staff with training and ongoing education with district-wide focus. Additionally, it helps our staff to earn CPDs necessary for recertification. We adjusted these days through a waiver with the Illinois State Board of Education to specify a full day of PD instead of the traditional half day. We feel it will allow more time dedicated to professional development. That was part of the how long it took to do this, but we found out today we were granted the full day professional development. So we are very, very excited. I know as a former teacher, being able to spend a day focused on what you need to learn versus having to have kids in the morning and try to do your professional development after, it's very difficult. So we have recommended calendar A for the 21-22 school year, but we're doing that to better align our calendar with the surrounding districts' calendars. We looked at all of those so that the spring breaks were at the same time because a lot of our teachers live in surrounding districts, so we were worried a little bit about being able to find subs. Also, it's really important, I'm trying to keep a consistent third Monday of August start. so that all parents and people in the community always know that it's that third Monday in August when school starts, when they're planning vacations, they know that's the time. So that is the reasoning for that, just so you know, and I did speak with the union president, told him ahead of time that we were gonna be doing this, so just wanted to let you know.
Great idea.
Recommendation remains
The
calendar
recommendation, calendar A,
Calendar A.
that is correct.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So the only real difference is the spring break and starting a week earlier. Like,
Right, the timing is
I
spring
just wanna
break.
make sure I wasn't missing something.
No,
else.
and you know,
difference, really
Yeah.
different.
and then it just makes it consistent with all the superintendents talked and shared their dates, and so we're trying to do that because teachers are living everywhere else, and it's just more convenient for families, and we have a sub shortage, so if someone did have to take off maybe during a different district's week, then it would be more difficult.
I
So
love the
we're not-
idea of doing the third Monday every August, so
I
people
love
can
it.
plan
Yeah,
vacation.
consistent, so
Yeah.
everybody can plan.
Everybody knows, and I think that's very important. Teachers start then, students start on Wednesday. So that was the reasoning behind that. We spent a lot of time on this. I appreciate the union's involvement. We're not trying to overdo anything. It's just that it works much better for the district.
I think we have a motion on the second.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wonsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10F, and there's a bunch of these folks, I'm sorry, we're trying to get through
We'll whip
them. Purchase of network switches with ESSER 2 grant funding.
This is exciting. We have ESSER grant money, which is made to do things to do remote with COVID things. So authorization is requested to purchase 20 new network switches with ESSER 2 grants. The new, I don't even know how to pronounce this, maybe you do, Meraki? Thank you, he's our tech board member. Will replace network equipment that is 10 to 15 years old. The equipment will align all of our network switches to be on the same Meraki cloud platform and will improve infrastructure and network transparency. Due to availability and supply chain delays, the devices could take 75 to 170 days to arrive after the order is placed. The selected vendor, secure data, is in bold below. Do you need me to go through all those?
I don't think you have to.
Price above includes network switches, power cables, small form factor, pluggable, I should have made Talon read this, pluggable transceivers and 5-year licensing. Secure data was the lowest bid, approval is recommended.
So moved.
Did I do that
Second.
okay?
Hey, Brad, are you there?
Brad, are you there? Brad Smith?
Yeah.
I just had a quick question. After the 5-year licensing is done, is the intention to renew another Meraki license for X number of years, or do you think you'll get new equipment at that time? Or is it too early to know?
If the equipment isn't end of life at that point, we would renew licensing.
Okay, cool. That's all I got.
Says brief report by Brad.
Is that right now? Do we-
So it's after the job coach position.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't
We didn't really need him to talk.
know. Okay.
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you, Brad, appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.
Very good. And that quote amount was
Oh,
$105,460 for those keeping track out there in the audience.
That's correct.
Any additional discussion?
I don't know anything about this stuff.
Me
If it's
neither.
a reputable company,
Yep.
it's substantially lower, so I just want to make sure we're still getting
Mhm.
what we need.
Yeah, they sell a
Fabulous.
lot.
All right, good.
Good.
Did we have a motion in a second?
Yes.
We did, okay, very good. Roll call, please.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Wonsmeyer.
Aye. It's so good to be buying new things, right? So-
Oh, no.
And
Speaking of
replacement
that,
things, yes, speaking
speaking
of
of
that.
not buying new
So,
things.
or trying to repair and
Or in
keep
good
things
condition,
going, so
as
we gotta
Amazon would say.
appreciate Mr. Smith doing what he can here. So item 10G is the purchase of a replacement backhoe.
We respectfully request board approval for the purchase of a used backhoe from Herb Equipment Company. The backhoe we had was completely unrepairable, I saw it, and we had to scrap it. We did get some money for that, which we dealt with in former meetings. A used backhoe is the best choice at this time when prices are so elevated right now. Everything is exorbitant past what it should be. So they were able to find, good job Eric Smith, our facilities director, one from Herb Equipment that's in really good condition in Mitchell, Illinois for $33,104. I think you have a picture in your packet of it.
Yes.
It looks pretty good, I
It's a
think.
beauty.
I know, doesn't that look nice?
Again, I don't know anything about it, but it looks
It
nice.
looks nice, right?
As long as it works.
That's right.
It is.
Is this good, Eric? Is this?
That's
Well, like,
nice
I
that
like
we
the
have
yellow.
I
convenient.
know, approval is recommended.
Convenient company.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Erica.
Erica.
Any additional discussion? Roll call, please.
McMasters.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knoble.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
None, aye. And Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10H, Granite City High School cooling tower repair.
Yes, we are seeking approval from the board to repair the Granite City High School cooling tower to make it run more efficiently. It is not doing so now. There are areas that it's not cooling, and it's just, the total cost for the parts to do this are $30,051.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Other than to say again, thank you, Mr. Smith, for
I know.
handling all this stuff, because these are things that just have to be done.
Yes.
And staying on top of it and making it work efficiently.
And
So
have needed
appreciate
to be done, so
Can
we're happy.
Can I ask
Yes,
a question?
sure.
Is it an air conditioner?
Mr. Smith, are you there?
Yes.
It's a cooling tower.
That
We
is
wouldn't
for the air
explain.
conditioner, that keeps the building cool, that cools the water that actually flows through all the unit vents.
And that cools the water, so if the water's colder, it has more cold air and,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Roll call, please.
McMasters.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knoble.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
None, aye. Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10I is the Granite City High School bathroom partition replacements.
I do want to talk a little bit about this, but due to the recent vandalism and abuse of the bathroom partitions at the Granite City High School, we are requesting to replace all toilet partition from MG Products Company for a price of $49,152. But I want to say, Mr. Depew and the monitors are really trying to get a handle on this, but it's hard. I don't know if it's, I'm not exactly sure if it's these online challenges. I mean, maybe Max could speak to this. Like, is that what's happening? There's challenges online that are.
Yeah, I've seen different videos on TikTok of people just trying to get really just famous for doing dumb things.
I thought this was
And-
over with.
No.
Oh, it's never gonna be over. You're
So-
never gonna.
There's
So
always
it's something.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've had soap dispensers removed, but I know they got one person most recently. But we have had, I know people have said that we've had monitors kind of scoping out bathrooms, but that's why. It's not, they're just trying to hear, you know, because you can hear when things are going on.
Especially if a door comes off.
Right, well, yeah, and then they're taking taking the toilet paper holders off, the soap dispensers off, which we just bought, new ones, and the replacement is up to 60 days because of supply chain. So they are working on it, but it is a difficult situation. I find it hard to believe that this type, I mean.
How many
So-
bathrooms does this cover? So-
Oh, it's
You're
a,
fine.
Mr. Smith, are you there? Well, actually, Mr. Depew could probably, there's probably at least 5 or 6.
Yeah, and I believe when Eric and I spoke, the plan was to handle all of the bathrooms at the high school with new partitions.
So we-
And this is for the whole building, above the cafeteria also, in the main building. Most of those are in need of repair from the years of abuse.
Right.
And there's quite a few. I don't have the exact number of stalls that we have ordered. We had a salesman here. We went through all the bathrooms with him, and he measured everything up and gave us this quote.
I think I would just like to appeal to the students out there that, you know, this is your parents' or family's tax money that's going to pay for these things, and I really wish you could be famous for being on the Scholar Bowl team or doing a presentation on the school board or some other reason other than tearing up the school. I just want to put that appeal because we're going to spend this money and we would hate to see that happen again. So,
That's very nice of you. I think it's ridiculous. And I wanna know, like, I mean, I know it's hard to pinpoint, but should responsible parties be found, can we hold them financially responsible,
We
like
did.
an obligation or
We
something?
did.
And I know like
Absolutely.
obligations, but like, they're in high school, this is insane.
they know it's wrong and we are doing that.
And it's a life lesson, you mess something up, you're gonna pay for it.
And then they can't get their diploma, right, they're on, what's that list called, what's wrong? Obligation
Until that
list.
obligation is cleared,
That's fine.
You stole a
They
toilet
don't
paper,
Yep.
they're cool, you're awesome,
I
like
know.
ridiculous, I'm sorry.
Well, Max,
As a
you-
high school teacher,
Oh, I
it
know.
really offends me, like,
Lay that.
I mean, this is where I think it's good to have a student on the school board. Like, is this something people talk about? Do they brag about it? Is it something they,
It's like a one-time thing. They think it's funny for like a tiny bit of time, and they try to get famous from it. And I don't know if you guys remember like the was the controversy, I think like 2 years ago with the bad smelling
Oh,
spray
yeah.
that people
Oh,
did.
right.
One of the students I found on TikTok doing that, and then what do you know, his video got taken down anyway.
Right.
And it's not funny. Think of it everywhere else the money can go. How many
Oh,
other clubs
right.
are wanting to wait on this, and think of how else you can improve your school other than tearing it away.
That is a great point.
As a millennial, sort of, when I choose to be,
Older millennial.
I would like to
Older
say, I love TikTok, I love YouTubers, in the words of one of my favorite TikTokers / YouTubers, get better role models, find better challenges. We shouldn't even have to be talking about this
No,
right
we
now.
shouldn't. Mm-mm.
All
It's
right,
sad.
That's it.
Good
So
job.
I move to approve if.
You know,
if we need a
another
motion.
thing too is you could hurt yourself very
That's
badly
another-
with this kind of structure.
Yeah.
And I mean, there could be blood on the floor.
That's
after
right. We
you've
could find
torn
them,
the door
maybe.
down.
Maybe we could follow the trail?
You could follow the blood trail.
All right, I move to approve the
Thank you.
repairs.
Even though we shouldn't have.
Second,
I have a motion and a second, and I will just add to that, thank you both for jumping in, or all of you for jumping in on this, because it really is, it's heartbreaking. I mean, the time associated with this, you've taken, it's not just the money here, the $50,000 or so,
Which is a lot.
but it is taking the facilities director's time, principal's
Your time.
time, everybody's time associated with this, and it's something we shouldn't even have to bring up here at the board meeting, but we do now. So again, I just implore you.
And also,
Get-
Mr. DePew, I'm sorry that you and the staff have to take time out of your
I
day to
know.
focus on this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, and it's unfortunate that we have to, but it is part of the job.
and the bathroom can't be used until it's repaired.
That's correct.
You know, so that
And the
cuts down on
students-
the ability for people to use
Students
the
that handle
bathrooms.
themselves correctly, then they have to suffer because of that.
Exactly.
It's
That's
unfortunate.
exactly. We're having to close the one in the cafeteria, I think, for a while because we can't get soap dispensers or the partitions. So one of the boys' bathrooms in the cafeteria is going to be closed probably till the end of the year because we can't. And then there was a toilet issue too. They flushed things down.
We've had to periodically close restrooms throughout the building.
Which is very
depending
unfortunate.
on the circumstances.
I can't imagine the man-hour estimate
No.
dealing with this stuff.
Oh, because the custodians are dealing with it. I mean, you look, it's just.
Max, I'm gonna say something.
Oh, good, Max.
Like, it affects students too, like just having a place to go to the
Right.
restroom. Like I spend a lot of time in the robotics room and the bathroom upstairs close to it. Like today, I walked all the way down to the one by Mr. Laycock's room because that one seems like it's, I shouldn't have said that because now.
But I would hope that would not be the case. So Mr. DePew, now you know where to go stand by on stakeout, right? We're gonna stake out that bathroom. How's that, Max? I tried to.
There you go, protect
Protect protect
That's terrible.
But I hate to say that, but there's a lot of
It's just.
kids that just want to use the restroom and they don't want to go during like
Right.
certain hours of the day where a lot of kids are in there and messing around and it's just,
Right.
it's annoying.
Right.
It's
And
irritating.
because those same kids could turn on them,
Right.
you know,
That's sort of an issue too.
and make problems there.
It's
There's
critical.
better TikToks to be made.
There are a lot of
Look
good
at that.
TikToks to be made. Look at all the stuff you can do.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Roll call,
Okay,
please.
here we go.
Vinny,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye. Item 10I, no, I'm sorry,
J.
10J,
J.
and move on, is Granite City High School upgrade to the,
Fire
I didn't
alarm
see it here.
detectors.
Did I miss a page?
Fire alarm
Did,
detectors.
I'm sorry, update to a fire alarm detectors, thank you.
This is really important. They have been out of date for a long time. So, Mr. President, the board, we request board approval to purchase 180 smoke and heat devices that have way exceeded their life expectancy. Mr. Smith did a great job going through and making sure where those all were. They must be replaced to bring our fire system up to date and to code. Total cost for the devices is $48,000.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
You said they're long past their life. Like, how did we catch this, or how didn't we catch this? Sorry to put. just
Don't we
curious.
have a fire company that's supposed to check those
They,
things?
they do, they're
Yeah, okay,
inspected, but, every year, but the device itself, the smoke detector itself, is only rated for a 10-year lifespan. Otherwise, it needs to be retested.
So they've been functional.
So
They're
with
not
the buildings
working.
we have, every year, we're gonna be replacing, our building detectors.
And this is, some of them definitely exceeded the 10 years, correct?
That's correct. Some of these were since the renovation.
So
in
we-
'94.
So we do have a company that comes in and checks all the fire,
The actual system, yes.
the fire alarm
fire marshal.
systems, and yet there have been some that have been missed.
Just the devices, like they come to check on if things are working, but somehow they miss the devices, yes, Mr. Smith?
Yes, well, the devices aren't checked like that.
No.
The devices are just checked to see if they're working. They're all working, but the problem is they are past their life.
Yeah.
So there could be a possibility that they don't work, and it's because, and if they don't, it's because of the years that they've been in service. So what we want to do is eliminate the risk of a faulty device by just replacing a whole building every year. That way we're on a 10-year schedule for each building, and we have up-to-date devices. That's what the manufacturer of the devices recommends, is 10 years.
And that's part of his 5-year plan on maintenance and things.
Okay.
Yeah, this is sort of similar to
Great.
the ones in your house.
Yep.
Like a lot of people may not know,
I know.
they're only good for generally 7 to 10 years.
Thank you for
Um,
the PSA report.
So, yeah. You know,
He knows
I don't think it's, I think October is fire prevention week.
Let's say public service.
So we
a
should have a
little early.
public service announcement in October, John. We expect that, okay? A nice one. I'm just glad he knows that. You know, I'm gonna go home, I have never checked.
Do we have a motion? My grandma was trying to sell one,
All right.
Central Hardware, which if anyone around here, you should never get a smoke
No.
detector that still has a Central Hardware tag.
Wow.
Yeah, because it got
Wow,
destroyed in a
it's been a few
tornado when I
years.
was in high school, and I'm old, so.
All right, roll
Motion
call,
and a second?
please.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
None, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 10K is the Granite City High School Gymnasium roof fall restraint system.
Once again, another thing that needs to be fixed. Mr. President of the Board, we are seeking board approval to purchase a fall restraint system for the roof of the Granite City High School Gymnasium. This will help all the HVAC technicians, carpenters, etc., to be 100% tied off to prevent falls. Total cost for the system is $40,480.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Curran,
Aye.
None, I, McMasters, Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. That safety is important.
Very much.
Item 10L, Coolidge Junior High School cooling system upgrade.
Mr. President of the Board, permission is requested for board approval to upgrade the entire cooling system at Coolidge Junior High School. By upgrading the controls and replacing the chillers, they're actual chiller replacements, we can balance the temperature better and keep moisture out of the building, which was some of the cause of the stuff coming off the
Moisture,
walls and stuff, right?
Crumbling.
Our HVAC technicians will also be able to see if all the units are running effectively and see if valves are open or closed, et cetera, which would prevent issues happening. Total cost to replace the defective chillers and upgrade all the controls is $705,532. Approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second. Motion
That's-
is second. Any discussion?
I don't question doing it. It's
No.
quite an amount, so like,
I
move
know.
it budgetarily with it.
Yes, Eric and Zach, this is something that had to be done, right? And we had budgeted money in for that, correct?
Yes, Zach has this in some ESSER money that we're
That's
gonna
right.
do.
Good.
We're gonna approve this tonight. We won't get these chillers
Yeah.
probably until, maybe this fall,
That's what I thought.
maybe this fall.
Okay.
That's why we're ordering them so early.
Yeah, they are ESSER funded. I should have said that. They're ESSER funded for air quality.
It's a big number, but
Yes.
certainly something that needs to be done.
We'll save.
One thing that we've always had problems with in the system that was put in is we never had isolation valves between the chillers. So if we have two chillers, one runs and the other one is off. And whenever that other one is off, well, come to find out, we had cold water running through a chiller that was not running. So what it was doing, it was warming our water up. That was actually the other chiller was actually trying to cool down. So we were losing efficiency there, and our temperature wasn't getting low enough in our water, and that's where we're having a lot of humidity and other issues in that building.
Will this also save with the efficiency of the new chillers, just in the power bills and things
Most
like that? Right.
We have an Ameren is kicking in, I think, $60,000 or $80,000 in on this project or something. I have to look back, and I should have had that prepared.
Yeah, because we're putting in a new unit. Mhm.
Is there a bid
The
on
ESSER
this?
money also has let us knock out some of the big projects that we normally would have had to piecemeal through. So this is a huge ease for budgeting every year because we can start doing some of the smaller projects as this money runs out that are easier to budget year to year.
Tellen Curran asked, was there a bid process for this?
Yes, there was. What we did, we went with Train with this. Now, Train will go out. This is their estimated cost. It will not cost any more than this. And then they will go out for bid and find contractors to actually do this. That's like Grigsby's bid came back a little less than what we had approved originally. So we're going to do the same thing with these. There will be, they're taking care of all of the contracting. They're like our architect that we have signed on with. They're taking care of all of that.
Okay, great.
Source of supply, they're also a source of supply, so we can keep everything the same throughout our district.
That's right.
That's correct.
Zach, to put you on the spot real quick, we use Esther we talk about Esther all the time, but for people that might not be familiar, and there have been questions like, well, what's going on with all this COVID relief money? What are they doing with it? Could you give us like a quick several sentence synopsis to address that?
Like with the air quality.
You said Zach or Eric?
No, Zach, and
Zach
to talk
money
about the air quality.
Yeah.
We're doing quite a bit with air quality. We did Grigsby. We're hoping to get Coolidge and a couple other elementary buildings done for air quality. We bought a lot of technology, network upgrades to handle the increased bandwidth. We're looking at buying the next 2 rounds of Chromebook replacements with ESSER. We have also put in a lot of after-school tutoring, stipends for teachers for additional tutoring, for additional academic support.
New teachers.
We are adding in some interventionists next year. We had hoped to get them in ESSER 2, but we couldn't find them, and it was too late in the year to get them hired. We have added some additional staff to reduce class sizes while also insulating us from hiring, because we have a lot of turnover going on. So as we evaluate numbers and move through, we've got teachers already here that can fill positions if the shortage continues. And that will also help reduce class sizes as of right now, to try to make up for the gap that COVID has caused, any learning loss. And then we've also bought some custodial supplies with it, some cleaning machines.
Excellent summary use of the money. Thank you.
And then ESSER 3 will kick in here coming up too, and that'll help with salaries and that more.
A lot of that is ESSER. That is a lot of ESSER 2 and 3. ESSER 1 really went to Chromebooks.
Pretty much.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, it's been really good for us.
Well, I like the idea of the air quality in the schools for our kids, and also the cleanliness and sanitation of the buildings.
We bought a lot of equipment. Eric did a great job. We have I'm going to talk about some of that. I won't steal it all. My little presentation is going to talk about that.
Sorry.
No, that was great.
Okay, so we are on item 10L, which is the Coolidge Junior High School cooling system upgrade. Do we have a motion?
Yes, there is.
Okay, motion on a second. Roll call, please.
None. I. McMaster.
Aye.
Finney.
Aye.
Knoble.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. I just promised to get everybody out of here by midnight tonight, so.
It's so nice of you. Let's keep that going.
10M is the Granite City High School update temperature or HVAC controls.
Yes, again, this is board approval. We are seeking to upgrade the HVAC controls at Granite City High School. This will help with the efficiency of the heat pump units. I know what that is. So we can balance the temperature, troubleshoot, and help the units run more efficiently. Total cost for this overall upgrade is $105,324, also out of ESSER funds.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McMaster's.
Aye.
Finney.
Aye.
Knoble.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
None. I. Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And more improvements to the Granite City High School building. So item 10N is tuck pointing bid.
Yes, permission, Mr. President, the board is requested to award Stott Inc., the Granite City High School tuck pointing bid 11-22. This is an ongoing project we've been doing to eliminate the water intrusion. There's been holes, so tuck pointing is necessary. If you've seen old buildings, you can see where the moisture comes in. Stott Inc. was the only bidder for the job. The total cost is $153,170. And isn't there part of that covered, Zach or Eric, with a different grant? her out with the name of the grant is. Zach or Eric?
Yeah, it's part of the school maintenance project grant.
School maintenance.
Once we hit 100,000, we put in 50, they put in 50.
That's right. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Move to approve. Second?
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
None, I, Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And I don't know how he's gonna do it, but with all these projects he's got going on, now we're talking about item 10O, which is purchase of a garage,
I am-
1947 Adams.
I am very excited about this. If anybody's been by the old boardhouse and property, there is an old lumber yard building that is talking about fire alarms being passed there. It is
Oh, yeah.
way past its time. I think it's not safe. It doesn't, there are holes in the ceiling. It's
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Okay, so I'm going
Oh,
to
it's a
ask for permission is requested for board approval to purchase a garage for the 1947 Adams Street location. This will take the place of the old lumberyard AV building that is scheduled to be torn down sometime soon in the future. We'll purchase the garage to store equipment, vehicles, etc. The building size, which I think you have a picture with your book packet, 40 by 100, and the total cost to purchase and put up is $78,803, and approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second?
Very excited about this.
That's good. Any discussion?
I know we've talked about
no,
this.
that's okay.
We've kind of been
Okay.
talking about this since I've been on the board.
Mhm.
This like specific area. As far as the property as a whole, like the building, what is the building being used for things? Like,
You mean the actual old
yeah, the
old
actual
building?
old board
Yes,
office.
they're actually, all the crafts and all the maintenance has been relocated there. I have purged it of anything historical. So we have a lot of.
And brought it here?
Brought it here, so we have things, but they're using it for, areas. Eric, you could actually probably speak to this better about what other areas are used for in the board office. That's a great question.
Yes, we have a lot of storage areas. The old building had, the old lumber yard that we're gonna tear down, it had storage rooms everywhere. Everybody had a little cubby hole somewhere. So what we've done, we've moved the painters over in the old HR department. The carpenters are in the center of the board office with shelving and all their tools and nuts and bolts and different things and different hardwares. Laborers are in another section, and then maintenance has a large section. They're in the old superintendent's office with their storage area. We're looking into, whenever we get time, probably taking out a couple walls, opening up the old board room itself to make it more of a saw shop, to where we can have our tools like our table saws and jigsaws and other things and we can have all those mounted in. That's coming in the future.
And a lot of that, the carpenters and stuff had things in our gym here at the board office, which we have. Eric's done an amazing job, which is now a professional development center. If you have a chance to, we're gonna have some things, meetings and things there. It looks amazing, so it's nice having all that out there as well, so.
Eric, I wanted to ask, what about the water that used to be a problem at the board office, especially in the superintendent's area?
That was a city issue. That was whenever the sewer would back up. Down there was a combination sewer, so it was stormwater and sanitary together. Here recently, they've repaired a few pumps, lift stations and other things, and repaired a few sewer breaks down there. We haven't had an issue since the building was cleared out of the administration.
The city's done a great job, I think, too, handling some of these issues across the area.
Yeah, the water company has purchased the sewer, so they have larger pockets than our city has, so they've really done a lot of repair.
Okay, great. Great.
Thank you.
We do have a motion.
Fantastic, thank you. Roll call, please.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
None, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And back to education, summer school proposal for Granite City High School.
This is exciting. So, Mr. President of the Board, permission is requested to offer a Granite City High School summer school program. Classes will be housed at GCHS, and the cost will be $100 per class, which will be reduced to $50 a class after the successful completion of the course. So it gives them an incentive that if they finish the class, then they don't have to pay as much. Maybe we may be able to work even more with that with ESSER funds. We'll see.
That would be nice.
So after
Great
summer
incentive.
school is scheduled June 1st, 2022 to June 29th, 2022. In-person and online courses will be offered. There will be no transportation provided by the district. I will say that The high school administration did an excellent job last year, kind of changing that up and doing some different things with classes, offering some more credit recovery. I think we had a pretty good group last year, amount of students, so we're looking forward to being able to do that again this year.
That's great.
What was our numbers in summer school for last year?
I know, I feel bad I don't know that.
I believe it was well over 200
It
students.
was a lot.
And the
It might have
grade,
been more than that.
Mhm.
even
and
though
the
I-
grade level?
Well, anywhere from
All grade levels,
8 to 12, really.
yeah,
Incoming
incoming
freshmen.
freshmen, all the way through to seniors that graduated in the summer, so.
Thank you,
all
Mr.
grade levels.
Depew.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Who got that one? One second.
Kern. I heard it.
All right, very good. Roll call, please.
Knoble,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item 10Q, Student Board Member Advisor for the 22-23 school year.
This is exciting. Mr. President of the Board, upon review of the applications, interviews were held with the committee consisting of Board Secretary Zach Nunn, Board Member Erica Benny, Superintendent Stephanie Can, and GCHS Principal Darren Depew. It was a really hard choice. I mean, we had 3 candidates. It's always great to see all these kids, why they want to do it, what they have to offer, and all 3 of them had amazing interviews. The committee recommends, though, Caitlin Lineker for the role of Student School Board Member Advisor for the 22-23 school year. I think she will be next meeting, right? Max will pass the torch.
Yeah, and I think she actually starts in August.
Well, she starts in August.
Right.
Do we
Yeah,
do that?
that's what we've started.
Do we do it in August or do we do it in?
Oh,
I might have to
that's
check
an
on that.
idea.
Okay, we'll have to check that.
We've done it. once.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's an idea.
But he might not be here in August, so.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so
We don't know
probably
where he's
Matt.
going yet, do we?
Well,
He
Maybe.
doesn't tell, he does,
Yeah, we
he did
do.
not tell me, you did not tell.
do.
Oh, I haven't heard that yet, you were saving that?
Well, no, I mean, I was there Saturday for advising registration.
We didn't get to
so-
have lunch this week, so like I missed.
For those out there, Missouri S&T is where.
Yes, that's so exciting.
But, I'm very excited that Caitlin's going to be on the board next year. I've seen her around school, and she's a great speaker. And I know she's been on the speech and debate team with my sister, and I've heard nothing but great things about her. So
Wow.
we're excited what she has in store.
Great.
It's an invaluable asset to the board to have a student board member, even like to be able to ask them questions and to see their opinion on things. And he's gonna do a really, really cool presentation tonight as well, so. we
I just
appreciate
wanted
it.
to also thank Mr. Willeret for
Oh, yes, that's correct.
spearheading
I'm
it and
sorry.
giving us 3
Yeah.
good applicants.
Yeah, sorry.
It makes the decision harder every year.
I know, it's true. It
does.
is true.
It makes it harder.
It is true.
So moved.
I need a
Second?
Second. Second by Ms. Knoble. All those in favor, or I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Kern,
I can do
Aye.
it quicker.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Wolfensmeyer.
Aye. Item, oh geez, what are we on?
Excellent.
10R, Phase 1 Sports Facility Update.
I'm gonna let Mr. McMasters, Dr. McMasters speak to this in a minute, but I'll do this part first. The administration would like to recommend the Board of Education authorize them to negotiate a contract for architectural services for Phase 1 of the sports facility upgrade. Items will include the GCHS girls softball field and fencing and walkways to the facilities. So I'm gonna have Dr. McMasters give a little background.
Just very briefly, that's the exciting part. I hope you all heard that. We're ready to go forward with the girls softball, the softball field. We're also ready to go forward then with fencing and walkways around there. And this just past week or so, we had a meeting, the construction committee, with President Wilmsmeyer, Superintendent Can, also myself and District Attorney Tom Schooley, and the Supervisor of Facilities Management Eric Smith and Greg Williams, and with S&M Wilson, we interviewed 3 architectural firms that are going to give direction on all of this, and they were AAIC Incorporated, Paragon Architecture, and Cordigan Clark Ittner. Yes, and it was one of those wonderful situations where you have all 3 of them were terrific, all 3 of them would do amazing work, all 3 of them have had some experience working with our district. The one we, interestingly, unanimously, we were all done, probably gave each one about an hour to present work they've done. When we looked at the one who has a really high on time, on budget record, and also, it never hurts if they're the best price. You put that all together, and it was like, you know, you have three great ones, but this is just a little greater. And, but it was a unanimous decision by the board, and so that they're recommending that we, use Paragon Architecture and, go forward with them. And, we're excited to see that project get started very quickly.
Any comment, Mr. Wood?
Yeah, it was a great process, and I appreciate Mr. McMaster's. It was it was wonderful.
It
I mean, to
was.
go through it, I thought very well done. Putting the RFP out there, getting them in for the interviews, so I thought it just a great job. And all of them, as he said, all of them were very good. So it was a tough decision, but we think Paragon's going to do a wonderful job for the district.
And I wanted to thank Mr. Zach Shurry too for kind of handling the RFQs and doing all that too. And the contract will be brought before the Board of Education for consideration and approval at probably their next meeting or so as well.
So
Move
as
to
far as,
authorize.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I move to authorize negotiations for it.
I'll second that. And then I just had a question. So we're authorizing the negotiations, and then will the next meeting probably be like approving the actual design and the details of it, or like what's the timeline like?
That's a good point. You want to talk about, do that a little bit, or it's going to probably be a couple months. for
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
design.
so, yeah, it'll take a little bit of time here for the design to go through, but certainly I think the intent is for by next meeting that we've got a contract or an agreement in place with the architectural firm, and
We
get them-
negotiate the price then, or
Yes.
the contract price. We pick them on qualifications, and then you negotiate
Right.
the price. So you
So
might
the
have.
scope has to come into
Right.
it and all that kind of stuff. They did determine how long that's gonna take to design all those things. But,
It wasn't so long ago that Superintendent Gann shared an overview plan of
Yeah.
the direction we wanna go. And the architects, all of them, I think, said the first thing they would come in and take a hard look at that plan. Sometimes even there was some tweaking, but this was like the very first phase to get started this whole project.
It's
And so,
exciting.
that's about as far as we're asking them to
Right now.
take leadership for right now. We're not
Mhm.
saying the whole project is yours by any means. We're
Right.
saying we're ready to go, but we're ready to have a contract.
That's right.
Proceed with them, I think.
With us and Wilson overseeing the construction management and helping us through this process, which they have been excellent at, is what I would like to add as well.
Thank you.
It's gonna be an amazing campus when we're
I
done.
know,
Oh my
right?
gosh,
I
yeah.
know.
It's
Be
an
the
exciting
showplace
night.
of the city.
with
I
what's
know,
going on
it
always.
is.
Do we have a motion?
Yes. Motion by Vinnie, seconded by me.
Very good. Roll call, please.
None. I. McMaster.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knoble.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And even more exciting, maybe.
I
Item 10S, Granite City High School multi-purpose field.
After a lot of research, a lot of discussion, a lot of going to other campuses and looking at it and making sure IHSA was on board and other school districts conversations, the administration would like to recommend tonight to the Board of Education authorize moving forward with the contract with ATG Sports for the installation of a multi-purpose turf field at Granite City High School.
So moved.
Second.
That was quick.
That's great.
Quick.
Is there
Any
a picture?
discussion?
Now, for discussion, can we talk,
If-
like,
You wanna hold the picture up?
We want this.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
You can't put that
I
picture
know, look
on
at Max
screen.
didn't know, so what,
We
look
want
at this. So I think what's
Just
important.
flash that up there for everybody.
What's important to understand
That's what we
is
want.
that it'll work for boys and girls soccer, it'll work for football. It'll have, the band can host competitions, which brings in money to the district as well. We can maybe bring in some new sports as far as lacrosse. No one's listening to me now because the pictures are. Lacrosse,
talking
girls
about.
field hockey. There won't be rainouts for the soccer team. We're also going to take the soccer field now and make it even better as a grass field. So there will be two places, if they want to play on grass, they want to play on turf. It just allows them to not have to give up home games due to flooding and things like that. So we're very excited.
this is obviously a substantial investment. Can you talk a little bit about how we're paying for this?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up.
Okay, thank you.
The Illinois State Board of Education informed us about 2 weeks ago that there were some coding errors with the evidence-based funding process in Illinois. So they owed some of the school districts quite a bit of money. In particular, over $700,000 to our district. So we already had Mr. Shurry had already put some back to do this, and also ATG came out and they are currently had the resources available and the money came in. it seemed to be the right time to do this. We're looking forward to being able to have a great relationship with ATG Sports.
And that coding error was all, I mean.
Oh, there's
lots of districts.
192 districts were affected, anywhere from $10 to a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
There's over 800 school districts, so we were pretty excited. It all seemed to come together at the right time. So we're happy to be able to do this for the district.
Yeah, and I'll say it again, not to belabor the meeting here or the discussion we've already had. As a board member, one of the biggest complaints that I've heard since I got on here was the number of soccer games that have been canceled because of the condition of the field. And when it rains and it sits low, it's a bad place. So you gotta cancel those games or move them someplace else. And we have no facility here on the campus in order to move those games to that is in a playable condition. And to have senior night moved to another facility when our seniors can't even, really celebrate here their senior night game, that is just we talk about an embarrassment with some of the district facilities downtown. This certainly is when we can't do that. And I want to call out especially Babe Champion, huge community supporter in what he's done, because Babe Champion has really, I think, got the community to get behind this and start this whole process. And so really hats off to Babe for what he's done
to promote it.
And I'm so happy and pleased, and I really wanted to call him today, but I knew I couldn't before this board meeting, so he's going to get a phone call in the morning. But it's huge for him and the whole community for something like that.
I'm gonna jump on my soapbox again real quick. Not as a board member, as a citizen of this town and someone that grew up here, we're getting nice things. Let's take care of it and show pride in everything that we're getting.
That part of this bid does include a ram scraper, I think it's called. It's actually a thing that they pull behind that actually cleans the turf, brings the turf little fibers, thank you, back up. So it lengthens the time of the turf. The ATG makes their own turf product. People were available, which is shocking. We hope to have them start in June and finish by August. So we are pretty excited about this. And we checked, it is all regulation. Collinsville has an identical field, actually a couple of feet less wide than ours, and they use it all the time for this. So.
It's heavily needed. I was a baseball and soccer player. I played JV for 2 years. And really, on the soccer field, it's a good field, but the grass and the just condition of it was not the best. And I will have to say, whenever the boys and the team wanted to go practice or play against each other, we found ourselves going to other fields. And we went to the Edwardsville turf field just because of the condition of the field and the bounces, the holes, and also the football field as well. And this combines it all together, and it's going to be. I wish this happened.
You can come back, and it will also allow us then to fix the grass field and put it to the condition of which the Gene Baker Field deserves. So that's very important as well. So we're happy to do that.
This is like Extreme Makeover home.
I know, it's like Extreme Makeover GCSD9.
Yeah, this is
It's his last year, unfortunately, but he's gonna be happy to reside over this, right?
This is one of the most exciting things since I've been on the board, and I think just everything going on with sports, with Coolidge soccer being started and being a success. Now they can play games on this field when there's no one else there. They can play on the other soccer field, and just a lot of exciting stuff happening. Just one question is, so it possibly could be done by August, right?
Yes, that's the construction.
Right. I know there's no way to really go around this, but with the supply chain issues that are out there, in the country and everything going on, is there any worry that we could be in a situation in August where things are delayed and football season starting, soccer season starting?
I've spent a lot of time talking with the person from them. This is why the urgency, like I said, it all kind of fell into place. The construction company they use is available. The turf is available. It's kind of
fell together perfectly.
Right, fell together perfectly. So that was a major concern for me to make sure that wouldn't be an issue. So they include in the proposal, it does have a construction schedule. So we will, and S.M. Wilson will also be overseeing a little bit of this, so make sure they stay on schedule as well.
Just one more thing about that.
Yes.
We talked earlier. This is where money can go whenever you don't spend it destroying bathrooms.
That's right. I wanted to say that, but I really am glad you did, because that's even better. I'm so proud of that.
Well said, Max.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Zach.
McMasters.
Aye.
Vinny.
Aye.
Knoble.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
None. Aye. Wolmsmar.
Aye on this one, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Fantastic. That is the end of item 10. Now we're on to item number 11.
But these are quick.
Oh, yeah, okay. Reports and other communications, so we have a, item 11A, a student board member. Max is gonna give us,
Wait, aren't we on freedom of, is this, did I mess it up?
Freedom of Information
Are we on
Act,
freedom?
is 11C.
Oh, never
C,
mind.
A, and B.
Never mind, it was my fault. Okay. That's right, so.
the floor is yours.
And I think we have it all set up. Chris, are you ready to help him out with
Give me a
that?
second here.
Okay.
During the transition,
You can-
can you formally announce where you're going?
Yes.
And what
Yes.
you plan to do?
I'm going to Missouri S&T, that's Missouri University of Science and Technology
Good job.
in Rolla, Missouri.
Excellent.
And I'm really excited to go there. I just did my my advising registration Saturday, and I will be starting off in mechanical engineering, but also dual enrolling in aerospace engineering as well. And then I also plan to be trying to get my teaching certificate while I'm down there. And I'm really excited for the future there. And it's only an hour, 45 minutes away, so.
Perfect, enough to be away, but not too far.
Exactly, so I'll still be around.
Congratulations.
I know, and I'm very excited that you went to teach too. He's expressed that to me several times. And just be able to have that option, I think we need to look more at those kind of things in the future for teachers, being able to find ways to get them into schools, especially secondary, without a long process that requires them to. So I'm just thrilled that you're going to do that. So congratulations.
I'm very excited.
We should clap. So now we're ready for this. So we've been working on this a long time, right?
Ms. Cannon, can you ask your staff there to make sure they can see his presentation online?
Everyone at home, can you see this presentation on your screen?
Not yet.
Mr. Suri?
I can.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. He's worked very hard on this presentation too, so I think it has a lot of valuable information as well.
Clicker should be on.
I'm gonna sit back. It's not on us now.
All right. So, I've spent the past year, well, first off, my name is Maxwell Forbes. I'm a current GCHS senior, and I represent the GCSD9 school board as being the student board advisor for the 2021 to 2022 school year. And what I've been working with all year is I've been working with counselors, faculty, teachers, and most importantly, my fellow peers. And I put together a report on really a student's path, and I'm exploring a lot of what drives a student to take certain electives. And I find electives important because they lead in the future career choice, and which affects life-changing decisions. And I wanted to explore this vast topic after hearing peers complain to me about schedule issues, fitting, and classes not being offered or other issues. But I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm going to go to the next slide. All right, here we go. And to give some survey background, so in January 2022, I emailed a survey to the entire student body. It asked a plethora of questions related to elective choice. I collected 423 responses, which were almost evenly split between students on an accelerated course path and students on a standard course path. And a lot of data was collected, but I'll get to that later. And why? Okay. So this is a little map of what I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about why I find elective choice important, some survey results, I have an analysis on it, and then also my conclusion. And first off, why I find elective choice important. Elective choice isn't just choosing classes based on easy class loads, friends, or credit. I believe a path, what path a student picks for their high school course heavily impacts a student's decision on what they do past high school, whether that is college, trade school, or a future job. And personally, elective choice has elevated me to where I am now, thanks to the business department. I am certified in Premiere Pro, I'm certified in Adobe Photoshop, and that has led me on to do other things I wouldn't be thinking of doing as a freshman. But one of the main issues I found about elective choice is that once I started getting into these classes as a freshman and sophomore, and I kind of started directing towards college and thinking, oh, I want to be an engineer, I know I want to go into this field. And a lot of my friends and peers were like, you know, how do you already know what you want to do? It's like, I'm still exploring stuff in high school, and that's when I found out a lot of students aren't experimenting with their schedules for their future career path. And alright, so here's my survey results. So I'm just going to go by the charts, the graphs a little bit, but I split the questions between students on a standard course load and students on an accelerated course load. And the first question I asked was, which department are you taking classes in currently? And what I found is that all students are taking business classes or tech classes evenly. But where it splits is that students on a standard course load are taking more vocational classes, family and consumer arts classes, but students on accelerated course load are taking more science, social studies, and fine and performing arts classes. And my next question was, what determines your elective choice? Why do you choose to go into these certain electives? And that's where I found that students on a standard course path determine elective choice heavily based on personal interest. And students on an accelerated course load determine elective choice based upon increasing their GPA or college prep more. But determination based on career path stays the same exact percentage at 21.9%, which I found interesting is that they're taking their career path the exact same. And so the next question was directed at students on an accelerated course load. Would you consider taking other classes if they were offered accelerated? And the main reason I asked this question was to see if students on the accelerated course load were taking classes because of its credit, increasing their GPA, and that's if they really determined what they chose. And only a small percentage said no, at 7.3%. An overwhelming amount said yes or maybe, and it shows that students are open to taking other classes, but a huge part of that is whether it's accelerated or not. And so my next question was offered as a follow-up question to this to the same accelerated course load students, asking,
I got you here too.
which area would interest you most? And what I found is that this was split pretty evenly between departments. You have your ups and your downs, but before I get to analyzing that more, I want to have some important notes on this other graph in the bottom right, where I cross-reference some data. This isn't a question that I asked students. It was a combination of questions that I asked before. First with, what department are you taking electives? And then also, the chart on the left, which area would interest you most? With these questions, I was able to eliminate answers for responses who currently take business class. Well, for example, if a student is currently taking a business class, and they say they would take a business class if it was offered accelerated, it shows that they're already taking it, whether it's accelerated or not. But, for example, if there was a student that doesn't take a business class, but they say it would interest them to take a business class if it was offered accelerated, I know that that accelerated credit is holding them back or not. This finds the answers from students where course status makes a true line on if they take it or not. And what I can see here is that students on accelerated course load evenly want other classes at accelerated credit, but interest for students not taking a class because of its status prefer to take vocational or family and consumer sciences classes more. And I saw a huge drop in fine and performing arts classes, which I'll get to later based on some key findings. But let's analyze that. So first, my key finding was students taking fine and performing arts want to take it, whether it's offered accelerated or not. It's not holding them back from taking the class, but that also falls with a band. It falls with Spanish, and Spanish is not required for some, but if you want to go into a four-year college, a lot of colleges recommend having at least 2 years under your belt. And students taking band as a class take it out of school no matter what, and so the accelerated status or not is not holding them back from taking the class. But my second key finding was between both groups, elective choices evenly taken into consideration on career path. But they separate when it comes to increasing their GPA or college prep versus their own personal interest. And my third finding was that vocationals and family and consumer science classes have a large interest for accelerated course load students that currently don't take it. And yeah, so what I find this is because there's not a lot of accelerated options in the vocational program and the family and consumer science program. But when you look at the data from the past charts, it shows that the business and tech classes were even. Students that wanted to take it, if it was accelerated or not, could, and it shows that there's a good balance between those classes, but not currently in the vocational and family and consumer science department. And there's my conclusion. Students want more accelerated options. Two things. Under current stature, this could inflate valedictorian student body, or we would need to reevaluate which classes are offered accelerated. And my next point, well, I was asked to find a solution for this and a possible fix, and there's a lot of things you need to take into consideration. Do you add more accelerated classes, or do you make classes accelerated based on if it's a core curriculum class? But then what Ms. Ken and I found when we were analyzing a lot of data and is that a good possible idea is if we limit accelerated credit to courses related to state testing, which is your ACT or SAT that is provided through the school. And what does this achieve? It keeps what qualifies a class for accelerated credit fair. It may boost test scores because those classes will be accelerated and more engaging towards the test. And it leaves electives to truly be electives. Instead of debating on taking a class based on its credit, a student can evaluate their decision based on the class material. And isn't that what elective is anyway? And so I just wanted to end this with a quote from one of my favorite teachers, Mr. Laycock, who actually kind of inspired me to go into engineering at Mr. S&T. And he preaches this to his students a lot and people that are just asking him about taking a class. Should I? Would you recommend? And his big point is that he wants to expose students to potential career choice so that they're able to make a decision when it comes to determining their own career choice. So he's not trying to convince a student to go into a certain class. He's not trying to convince a student to go into a certain field of study either. But he wants to give that student a fair chance before they go off into college saying, I wish I tried that class so I could see if I was interested in it. And what's important about that is it shows that you've tried it, you know? You tried a class and you're not going to regret not taking it. And under the accelerated career path, like course path, a lot of that is restricted if you're wanting to boost your GPA for colleges or if you want to be that valedictorian. So I just want to say thank you. And for anyone online, my email.
Your own domain.
What?
Your own domain.
Yeah. But.
Get your Elon Musk right now. Twitter.
But my email is max@max3d.xyz. I'd love to share data with you guys. If you're interested in seeing my slides, I'd be willing to send a copy of it or talk further on the subject. And because I have a lot of data, and it took a while to process a lot of it.
You did such a good job.
So.
I think that having the solutions to Max, talking about an elective is truly, you should be penalized for taking something you're interested in because it's not accelerated. And sometimes people look to the answers being not accelerated, right? This is when we had this discussion.
Yeah.
But maybe the answer, like you said, is to even the playing field and let them allow them to do that. So yeah, it's an interesting concept, Mr. DePew.
Well, it's interesting because Max and I have talked a little bit, but I have a group of teachers, department chairs, a subcommittee that is actually working on this topic currently, because with our summa cum laudes, and what courses they are choosing to take in regards to their GPA, we're looking at all of those options. So this fits right in with what Max has put together, and I am interested in seeing all of your data.
He's got lots.
Well, we are working on this currently, because there's a lot of decisions that are made by students and a lot of factors that go into that, like Max said. And so we're looking at the big picture and what changes we might be able to make, whether it is limiting the number of accelerated courses that a student takes or adding accelerated options, just a variety of things that we're looking at, or making some adjustments in determining summa cum laude, all of those types of things. So we're just looking at that in the big picture. So I appreciate what you
And I think one thing that was interesting that I think that got you, correct me if I'm wrong, that got you kind of started on this. I was watching a robotics thing in there, and I think it was your sister who actually said, I really wish I could take one of Mr. Laycock's classes, but I can't because of my trajectory of class. And we were both like, oh, what a shame. It kind of, that was last year.
Yeah, and the other thing that factors into that is she's in the band, and so that restricts it even more. And there's a ton of things that go into it, but bottom line, there's a problem with students not being able to explore different, experiment with their electives. And a lot of students are just kind of just chasing increasing their GPA as much as possible. But right now, colleges are looking for a more rounded student.
Yep.
They're taking test scores differently than how they used to. They're looking at what you do out of the classroom as well, extracurricular activity-wise. And for example, I have a lot of friends, and like I was driving home with one of my friends one night, and he was just like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just, you know, and I asked him, I was like, did you take it, what kind of electives did you take? Because this is whenever I was putting together the survey. And then that's where he was just saying that he was just choosing whatever accelerated option was available.
Yep.
And part of the scheduling issue that we currently have at the high school where kids can't take a class that they want or don't want is we have a decent amount of accelerated classes, but the problem is those accelerated classes are hard to fit because you have to have a large amount of teachers to teach it, but then you also have to schedule it around all the other accelerated classes.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Yes.
It's like dominoes, right? You push
You're
one
right.
and a whole bunch of them. But the fact that you asked and looked into it and brought this, like right now, it's already going to affect what they're doing at the high school. So I'm extremely appreciative of you doing this and taking it so seriously and coming up with not only the data, but to analyze and come up with possible solutions. So I've just enjoyed working with you and watching you evolve too.
Yeah, it is a fun project, and I still like looking at the project and everything. And one of the things I was going to do, but whenever I was down in Missouri S&T for St. Pat's Weekend, didn't happen for some reason. But they celebrate a little bit around St. Pat's. But I went down there, and there was some GCHS graduates that are in engineering, and it's different on how they get there. Noah Brinker was one of them. He's a graduate from last year. He found that he wanted to do engineering through the robotics club. And then you also have Lee Coyle. He graduated the year before that. That's currently at S&T. And there's other students that way. And in the future, I hope to kind of ask them questions and figure out, you know, what kind of drove you in this way to go into this? Or, you know, has robotics helped you coming into these classes? Did you take any vocational classes going into these classes, like for experience and whatnot? And I feel like that's the future of this, and figuring out how well we're preparing students that are going into different departments.
You're so right.
And what a better way for us to plan what to do with student curriculum than hearing from students that they want.
Exactly.
I mean, I just.
And another part of the survey that I didn't put in here was it did ask them, you know, what class would you like to see at the high school?
It did.
And there was hundreds of responses.
There really are a lot, though. I was surprised to see that list.
I would
Yeah.
love to see that.
We have that. Well, he can.
Is that part of your data?
It's not with the data right there, but
No, what you said you still have.
yeah.
That's.
But big things like ASL was one of the biggest ones, but people wanted more like classes that would relate to more pre-med students.
Right.
And there were other students that wanted more up-to-date classes. For example, coding. We have a we have an HTML class, which is kind of your web page kind of coding, but students are looking for a kind of robotics coding wise, or they want to see a robotics class to figure out how to design different things that isn't after school in a free kind of environment, but instructional teaching. And but another problem is you have to find the teachers for them. And if you try to condense classes and, you know, so you don't have a large amount of classes because of accelerated credit and taking up class space and hour space, then, you know, you can start to try to fit in other stuff. But it's a big, vast issue, and you can always go deeper with it, but it's something that I feel needs to be looked into and brought to the.
Great. I think you kind of opened a can of worms with this, of course, which is a good one to open, but also thinking in terms, like you brought up a couple of times during this presentation, what's really preparing our kids best
for their success and their next steps. And, you know, I could see a whole branch of this. I mean, I don't know if we want to create another position, but you have like student board member emeritus who's an alumni, and then you're talking to other alumni, and we're getting that kind of data from them as well. I was a kid that was in the honors track. I did band in Spanish. I had no other elective ever. And I really wanted to just take a cooking class ever. Like, never I got to. So I didn't have any life skills when I got to school.
I remember you talking about this in our interview for this position, so it's really cool to see it like totally come to fruition. You did a great job. Could you talk a little bit more about like why it is, how not taking an accelerated class affects your GPA? It's basically like it's weighted higher, correct?
Yeah.
If you take an
So basically, what taking an accelerated class does, we are on a 5.0 scale. And if I'm correct, taking an accelerated class puts you, well, if you get an A in the accelerated class, you're getting a 6.
6.8.
So you're getting above an A. And then if you get a B, then you get an A technically in a standard class. And if you get a C, it's a B, but I think it drops off when you get a D. And that affects your GPA because you're getting all these 6 and 6 and 6, and that's where your valedictorian mark is 5.6 and your other marks. And so whenever you're not getting a 6 and a 6 and a 6, then you're getting 5s, maybe 4s, and it pulls you down because you're not getting that boost of GPA from taking an accelerated course. And that Alyssa Perry, she's a good friend of mine who's in robotics and actually started taking vocational classes because of robotics and Mr. Laycock. But she was talking to me today, just having to speak of it, but she was just like, yeah, my GPA has gone like way down since taking these vocational classes. But it's what she wants to do. And she went into Mr. Laycock's class, and then immediately she went up to the vocational class, and she's excelling in this class and knows what she wants to do in college. And she actually wants to come back and fill Mr. Laycock's shoes as teaching in a shop position.
Oh my God. Well, and as you mentioned earlier, like I've actually been involved in some college admissions things at my alma mater. And GPA, yes, you want to have a good GPA. But if you have a kid with a decent GPA, like she probably has, but then you see she's been taking these other classes, we look for people that are set apart. You know, like what makes her different than all the other top GPA kids. And so I think that's a very valid point you made.
It's well-rounding the student.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking, whole child approach from.
And also your children, like I know you're in high school, you go off to conquer the world, you want everybody to tell you're a child, but you are. And like we shouldn't be saying like, make all your decisions based on that, your career.
Well, and here's another thing too, we want kids to start high school with this excitement that they are going to have choices.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that they're looking forward to. They've got all their rudimentary courses under their belt, now they can make choices.
And that's where I kind of started in 8th grade. We had projects where we would look up and figure out what kind of career path we might want to look at in high school. And I was really excited about going into high school as a freshman, but as a secondary honor student, my mom and dad can talk on this, there was no room. I had to take American History Accelerated, I had to take Spanish, I had to fit in all these core classes, and I didn't have any elective choice for that year. And I really would have enjoyed taking a video game design class and maybe looked at programming, or taking a computer concepts class that would have prepped me for Excel and Docs and Word and PowerPoint sooner than later in high school, where I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then now, because of these electives, I'm making videos on my own, doing different graphic design work. Actually, the reason why I was at Missouri S&T's campus for St. Pat's Weekend is Lee Coyle, alumni. He's a sophomore at Missouri S&T. He's on the St. Pat's board, and he reached out to our film class, and he actually paid my friend Ryan Dagoni and I, and they funded our high school, like Ryan and I, to go to St. Pat's, spend the weekend down there, get experience with filming, and it was fun. And I wouldn't have been able to get anywhere close to thinking that I could do that or want to do that, and it prepped me for college as well, but it's also fun stuff that you enjoy in high school.
And we have to look at an overhaul. It's not an easy process, like Mr. Pugh said, but it has to be something, I think, sooner or later now, that we're going to, with remote options and things that maybe we can look into sooner than later. I would love to see a high school sort of overhaul. It's hard when we're used to doing things one way, but I'm all about changing things. So I love that you brought this more to our attention and with data to back it up. Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I gotta tell you, I appreciate the research, great job on the research of all this, and just the interest, having the interest to do it, because a lot of people don't have that patience, so great job. And then Dr. McMasters and I will offer to be your agent if you wanna go on speaking tours.
I already talked, I get that
Maybe,
first. I already
I'll
talked
go
to him about
to a
this.
You taking 10%?
Come on, Max, I'm first, okay, right?
Well done, well done.
I really couldn't have done it without the support from the district. I can't count how many times Ms. Can had sat down and brought Popeyes or McDonald's.
Everything liked, I bring him lunch, and we would talk about it.
Pulled me out of lunch at Warrior Time, and we talked. Sometimes it was hard leaving the classroom, and I was a little late to Ms. Heath's class.
But I would take
Sorry,
it,
but-
it was okay.
But
And she
also,
did graduate.
the counselors were open to talk about this. I started off at the beginning of the year talking to the counselors, talking to students, talking to teachers, talking to department heads. I went to freshman orientation night, I'm pretty sure, or was it the freshman registration?
Right, didn't
and
do it.
I was there talking for like an hour and a half to the department heads by the front door, and it was interesting. They were interested in what I was doing for this, and they were giving me feedback based on their experience as a department head and finding students that were talking to me about this. I really found a lot of people that this has affected. A lot of people are interested in it, and I really hope that we can make some progress to make every student happy.
I think what's interesting too, I'm just throwing this out there because I'm a qualitative person. For him to know that anecdotal information is important when his brain sort of mapped sort of a little bit, I think he appreciated, learned through this process how that information can back up a lot of the quantitative. And I think that was something you learned through this, which I thought was really interesting. Just had to throw that out there. Great job.
Well, as board members, we're proud of you, but I
Yes.
can only imagine.
Ah.
So,
I can't. So whenever I went down to Florida for
He
the
told me
marching
this story.
band trip,
This
the
is
whole
funny.
entire way there and the whole entire way back, we were just debating and shooting down each other's ideas
It was
of
great.
like solutions. And
He was telling me, like, this is great.
a lot of support, and
Wonderful.
It's what made the project.
Yeah, the interest in what your son was doing.
I'd be very proud.
Thank you very much.
It's always parents that make it.
Oh my gosh.
Really go.
We're some caring figure, and it's very
Yes, exactly.
Well done.
Thank you for raising such a
I
great
know.
kid. And for
I think his
staying
grandpa
for
would be
over
proud
2
too, right?
Appreciate it, Max. Item 11B,
This me?
report on the state of the district by
It's gonna be
Superintendent
quick
Dan.
though. Hey, how do I follow this? How do I follow
Yeah, I
this?
know,
guy?
right, Max.
Okay.
First time we're gonna turn this over.
It says state of the district, is the camera on?
Not yet.
Stand right next to you, so the camera will be on you.
Yes.
It's gonna be right here.
We did.
I'm gonna walk this.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need a mic, huh?
Probably not. Teacher voice.
Uh-huh. There you go.
That's a teacher.
Can you see if our staff can see?
Mr. Shorey, can you see the presentation on your screen?
I can see the presentation, just make sure that Chris flips through on his computer as well, so we can, see the slides.
Thank you.
There we go. Here.
You don't need me. You can just.
Does she need the mic or something?
It's over there. Zach, just let me know after the first one when she changes it if it goes, okay?
Okay.
It's not gonna go, it's not in present mode on this one.
Okay, all right. I got you.
I will just start talking because we're over time. Mostly what I wanted to do tonight, starting my job in July of 2020, in the midst of the very beginning of COVID and all the responses that we had, everything I planned to do, everything I wanted to do, start with high school and do curriculum issues, were kind of put on hold. Not kind of, they were put on hold. But I wanted to spend a few minutes about, right here in the beginning, was what were the COVID-19 effects on our district? by each department, I'm not gonna make this long, I'm just gonna briefly go through how certain things changed for each of us in the board office in particular. As a superintendent role, I oversaw all COVID responses in the district. So that went from everything from buying the sanitation and soap dispensers in every classroom to making sure Chromebooks were available for everyone, making sure we had technology helplines, making sure there were hotspots for students, making sure that teachers had some guidance as to what kind of remote education that they were presenting. Just food distribution. Could we maintain that somehow through the buses? What about the academic materials? Did we have a way to get those back and forth to students? It seems like there's one thing, but there were so many different things to manage throughout that time period. And so having to deal with having a team was super important. So human resources, for example, all of their time, they became a response to COVID. All staff COVID requirements, all guidelines, all leave, all insurance, staff recruitment, everything they had to refocus on. Instead of regular hiring and regular procedural things, they were completely changed over to staff responses, staff isolations, time off, who was gone, how are we going to cover them, do we have substitutes? It was nonstop. It was just something that refocused their attention to something completely different. Finance. Mr. Suri did all of the ESSER management. Everybody's buying and ordering things. He's making sure it's all working on the finance side. He's going through and making sure it's all coded correctly and put where it's supposed to be and making sure we're spending the money accurately. He also, I have to point out, is the finance director, but he also was responsible for developing our COVID dashboard. And I hope that you know most districts in the area did not have a real-time COVID dashboard. And by that I mean daily there was information inputted into that. Human resources put staff information about COVID positives and isolation. Nurses were putting information into this, and it was on a daily basis. And he developed that whole program for that as our finance director. Just want to throw it out. So not only was he doing all that, but he managed to do that for us. And I think that was a very good way for our district to be transparent about who was positive, what were the percentage rates by building, so people could see all that. It seems like you would see that every day and it looks effortless, but it wasn't. Someone had to build that, someone has to put the information into that, and that was a daily update, except for the weekends on Monday a little bit. So I think that was very important. A lot of districts had some information, but it wasn't real time. So curriculum and learning, change in instruction and learning process, completely. Right? When it went from in-person instruction to trying to figure out what remote looked like, what were the best practices? How do we do, when we know it's great to be in front of kids and to try to engage them, how do we do that through a computer screen? Getting the computers, ordering the computers to make sure we at least had those. Because for a student to not see their teacher and to not have some interaction with them was not going to be okay for me. I really wanted to make sure that K-12 students had computers, which we were able to do, and that we learned and worked with the union, and our teachers, oh my goodness, they really rose to the occasion. Being able to film videos, how to do things, it's not an Elmo, what's that called, Max? The thing where you can see if someone's writing, if a math teacher's doing something, it shows up on the screen.
The document camera?
Document camera, thank you. Look at that. Document camera. So they found ways to engage their students. They read stories. The PE teachers were phenomenal. They would do some of the things, and they'd watch the kids do it, and they would walk, or they would run, or they would do jumping jacks. One parent I talked to said, do you have to have them do calisthenics? It's so noisy. but at least they were doing things. They were very creative. So just trying to have, Mr. Mathis and Ms. Nabashis Caverna trying to make sure, working with the teachers, and how long do they have to be on screen? How do they do grading? How does Google Classroom work? It was incredible. So that was a total change, a complete change in how we address that. Educational operations, which usually deals with alternative ed and testing and assessment, those were all put on hold. Dr. Keel oversaw all the health and safety student side of everything. He had to manage the nurses. And I can't explain to you, if one person in the district, one group of people, their jobs changed more than anyone else, it was our school nurses. They went from seeing students in person for cuts or stomach aches to dealing with COVID symptoms, to trying to put that data in every night. Huge amounts of paperwork. We hired, Dr. Keel hired new people to come in and help do that. So there was just a lot. Dealing with supply chain issues, ordering PPE for teachers and for students, having masks for students on buses when we went back, making sure teachers had what they needed in the classroom as well. It was just, once again, a total shift from what their original job description is. Facilities, another example. They went from focusing on, they did do building repairs and that during this time, but trying to get all the safety stuff in, buy the equipment, get the scrubbers, make sure HVAC systems were working, make sure ventilation was okay, building isolation rooms for crafts. I mean, there was just so much work that our custodians and our crafts did during that time. I just have to give them such kudos. And Mr. Smith really organized that well, even with supply chain issues. I know I ordered the, the sanitation systems, like in hospitals where you foam in, foam out in the classrooms. I ordered those even in May before I started my job. I ordered those in May, and the computers were ordered prior to May starting as well, because I knew that it was a long return on those, so that we had those all installed by that fall and were available for students. It was very important. Communications. That new position started when I did. I hired Mr. Mitchell, the board did, to make sure we controlled our own brand, right? But it couldn't have been better timing with COVID. He disseminated all vital information to all the families, managed the website, put in important information on the social media about transportation, worked on recruitment. Everything we needed to get out to parents, we had to do. So having someone who was dedicated to that was huge for our district. I think we did an excellent job. I'm going to brag on them. We did an excellent job in this area of getting our information out. And it was, once again, we would be doing other things with kids, but he focused his attention on it. I will talk about, we had a transportation issue this fall where because of COVID, we didn't have drivers. And so he spent 7 weeks of his time running a recruitment program because we didn't have a lot of it going on the other end. So he did a great job. Will you be my bus driver? You might have seen those. I was on news stations begging for drivers, but it helped. Every time I was on the news, we got anywhere from 20, 25 calls for applicants the very next day. So you do what you have to do, and I love doing that, but it helped. Student services, registration, transportation, academic material distribution. We kept the bus drivers employed. We used them to distribute food, academic materials. I didn't want them to leave, and we already still had a problem, but I wanted them to stay employed so when we did have students back, they'd be available to drive. It was really important. Registration, trying to do that during COVID. Trying to get students in. We had remote registration. It was really difficult. They did an amazing job with all that. Transportation was new also to Mr. Irving. So that's something we all learned together. We know more about transportation now than most people, and maybe we didn't want to know, but we do it now. Special education, oh my goodness, worked within the guidelines to address student needs, right? Remote IEP meetings, remote instruction. How do we meet those individual education plans with those students? OT, PT, trying to get that stuff remotely. Those people were amazing. Actually did stretching online synchronously with teachers and with those people working with them. It was absolutely incredible. I don't know how we did it. I mean, it might have, sure, it probably suffered some, but the extent that they tried and made those things work was really admirable. I'm really proud of them. And technology, does that move up a little bit? I think this is really important. The fact that we were able to get the computers in, I can't thank my technology staff enough. Getting them in through ESSER funding, we were able to buy them. What's the bottom line? Let's see. And continually supporting that. We used in-house people. We had tech teachers who, when we're remote, they weren't there. So we have hotlines for parents, for teachers, for students. We had our tech teachers. Grandparents, right. Tech teachers that manned hotlines that went into the weekend hours as well. You could call them on a hotline in the evening and get an answer and a response to your question on how to get onto Google Classroom or why isn't my Chromebook working. I think that the teachers, wow, and having a video library of how to do things. And some of the teachers made videos because they knew how to do something that maybe someone else didn't know. It was absolutely amazing. They just continually continually managed everything. The new technology, the hotspots, Mr. Smith making sure that all that worked, making sure any family who needed internet connection had that. We didn't have, as far as I know, anybody who wanted one got one. So we were able to provide that internet connection not only with the device, but then they had a way to get online too. So I'm just really proud of the way, but we did change. So pretty much we all developed into a COVID response team. Instead of a board administration team, we were a COVID response team. We shifted within the educational systems. We worked every day with ISB, Madison County Health Department, Illinois Department of Public Health, even the CDC with regard to the COVID mandates, which, by the way, Illinois Department of Public Health would change pretty much every Friday, sometimes about 5:30 p.m., so you couldn't really get to it. So we never knew. I was constantly on the website looking to see when the changes are, talking to our lawyers, making sure we had somebody, did I read that correctly? Does that mean I can do that, or is it 5 days? Is it 10 days? Just, my brain, it was conditioned to deal with those issues. Navigate the ever-changing Abadan guidelines. That's what I'm talking about. Remote instruction. Then they would have things, they have to be on this many minutes, and this has to be this many where they're interacting with students, this many when they're not. So just trying to get that with the union, and they were wonderful. Let me just tell you, Local 743 couldn't have been better about negotiating MOUs and working with us to do what's best for kids. That's another thing that was great. We created and oversaw building care teams to address students' social and emotional well-being as well. They even went door to door. If a student wasn't logging in, and we didn't know why, they would go. They would keep records of that. They would get kids to log in. They would contact parents. So students we might otherwise have lost, which was easy to do when they were remote, right? They really went out and actually tried to get them and talk to them and bring them in. And so many teachers were a part of that and really went out and did that. I just can't say enough about that. And I think one of the most important things I did, because I was constantly trying to oversee all this, from sanitation machines to transportation to guidelines to MOUs, I decided to develop a dedicated education team to better address student learning. It was something that's my heart, is curriculum and student learning, but I couldn't do it well enough. I needed a team to do that. So, next slide. So the members of that team, Executive Director of Educational Operations and Alternative Ed is David Keel, Executive Director of Special Education Region 1, Mickey Watkins, Co-Renewal and Innovation Coordinator, Steve Mathis, and Executive Director of Curriculum and Professional Development, Kristen Navachis-Caberna. Their goals, I turned over, and we talk. We talk as a team. I meet with them regularly, but then they meet separately and deal with these issues and come back to me with any questions or any developments. It's working extremely well. It allows me to focus on big picture issues, and then their expertise are in these areas, and so it's working really well. Pre-K, all the way from pre-K-12 student learning, we're working on that. We're looking, like with Max's thing, fits perfectly into this. We're looking into ways to better engage students into what they think is relevant. That's so important right now, I think, especially because all the information they need is a Google search away. So what we need to do is facilitate that type of learning, right? We need to find a way, if maybe we're not the best at coding, maybe that teacher is facilitating, even with students helping teach other students about that. I think that's something they're looking into. Building consistent, relevant, research-based academic and social emotional instruction. We did bring a Rethink Ed remote program in to help with some of that, but I think our social workers were incredible in that, helping with students, making sure they got what they needed. We're trying to use relevant things for kids, research-based. These are things that I'm trying to do consistently across the district that maybe wasn't happening before. Plan effective and collaborative educational professional development. We got word today, said that we had full day professional development last year. We had to plan that, go through a process with ISB to do that. We're trying to find things that the teachers actually want. Like instead of having everybody to go to something on, I don't know, Spanish speaking something. Say we have all the elementary PE teachers meet and talk about a goal they want to do, right? All the music teachers, elementary and secondary, can meet separately to focus on goals and standards that are important to them. So trying to find things that are more relevant, we're planning that for next year. We're very excited about that. They've been working on all of this. To create and hire new and innovative educator and administrative positions. We have interventionists now. We have a care team specialist. just to help address academic effects of COVID on both staff and students, right? So, you know, just trying to make sure that we're hiring enough people to lower the class size, which helps with a staff member who may be overloaded with 30 kids in the class. Now, if they have 26, it's a little easier to manage. I mean, I was a high school teacher, but I saw in the younger grades, class size is so much more important. It's harder to corral 26 kindergartners than it is 26 juniors. Okay? There's a big difference in class sizes when you look at the leverage. Some of John Hattie's work, class size is not as important at the upper grade levels. K3 is huge. The leverage is a lot bigger. So we're trying to focus on those lower class sizes at those lower grade levels and interventionists. To build a system where all student data is addressed and used to develop interventions at all levels. What I mean by all student data, attendance, right? The care teams, was there trauma? Did something happen? Did they have members of their family die of COVID? Was there something that happened that we need to know about that whole child? I think that's another thing you've sort of addressed. Their grades are one thing, but you know, you need to reach a level with kids and a relationship with students and try to look past just, oh, they didn't turn in their work. Why didn't they turn in their work? I think so trying to change the culture to be less punitive and more caring is really important to us, and this group is so behind that. I just love that. And then just the job refocus on the district staff. I mean, building administration, principals. Mr. Shapiro can tell us, trying to, then his job, once we implemented, okay, here's the guidelines, they need to be online this long, and they need to be putting these videos out. How many teachers do you have, Mr. Shapiro?
100.
100. So he's trying to go through, with his 4 other administrators, trying to go through making sure people are following guidelines, talking to parents that are complaining, trying to making sure everything's working, right? So his job of just day-to-day management is now completely overtaken by also COVID-related things. School nurses, like I said before, seriously, I think their job changed and was more stressful than anybody in the district. I'm just going to say that. I am so proud of how they stepped up. They volunteered at vaccination clinics. They've done paperwork. The hours they've put in have been amazing. We've tried to get help for them, tried to get people in, and having just the work they did for the dashboard was amazing. So I can't say enough about our student nurses. If you see one out somewhere, give them a hug, do whatever. Buy them a soda. I don't know, but they deserve it, okay? Because it's crazy. Custodial. Oh my goodness. So they went from having basic work and then they could go do something else to making sure they're wiping handles down. They're spraying rooms. If a person was diagnosed, had a COVID identification, they'd have to go into a room and clean everything, top to bottom, making sure vents were clean, everything was clean. Just a complete change of focus during this time period. The crafts, they built isolation rooms, they were doing all kinds of things. They also did some cool things when kids were remote. They painted, they did maintenance things we haven't been able to do. So they were incredibly busy too, but once again, refocused on things for COVID. The technology team, oh my goodness, that's the in-house tech line again. We had in-house experts, and I think that was important for our teachers going one-to-one. Having their peers, being able to teach them and help them. It's not as humiliating maybe to say, I really don't know what that document camera, how it works, right? Or what's Cami? I'm not sure what that is. I think it's really important that they could call somebody they already knew, right? And then grandparents and students would call about logins, and parents would say, this isn't working, and they'd walk them through that on weekends, in the evenings. COVID money was used to pay those stipends and those overtimes. We couldn't have done that without that. So I think that's another thing we did that I don't think a lot of other districts, as far as I know, implemented, was a tech hotline within the district during off hours. That was huge. And just having our directors just making sure hotspots were working, distributing the Chromebooks. I know Karen Robertson, the new Chromebook principal, she developed a plan for that. It was amazing. We did a great job for that. We lived and learned through stuff. So anyway, those are what we did in COVID. I just felt like I think people needed to understand how much our jobs changed during that time and how we refocused on this safety, health, best practices during a time that I know people use the word unprecedented, but a time that we had never had before. And so it was huge. But some things good came out of COVID, right? New technology to move our students into the 21st century with their peers across the country. I recently went to a 2-day seminar conference. I led a social emotional talk anyway at a superintendent's conference in Chicago, and I got to speak with superintendents from all over the country. Washington, Oregon, New Jersey, Texas, Alabama, Arizona, California. It was crazy, but it was the best 2 days I think I've ever spent for professional development, because I learned that everybody was facing the same things. Staff shortages, financial issues. We were lucky, honestly, the way some of the things were handled in Illinois, the way we got our money quickly, the way the grants were managed. It was much easier for us to do that. So devices now for support staff. We learned that it wasn't as effective for e-learning days if we didn't have our secretaries or maybe our paraprofessionals, so now they're able to get computers as well. Our teachers all got new computers. Nice ones. They didn't get the Chromebook. They got Dells. I think we have some teachers here. I wanted to make sure they had something that, because you can't expect them to teach remotely if they don't have the equipment they need to do that as well. So that was something we did too. I think that teacher growth and technological approach to instruction. I am blown away at how advanced our teachers are now. And our kids. We didn't even need to take all the classes that we had for technology for kids are completely outdated. They're so far ahead now that we're revamping what they're doing. They're working with robots now. I know Liz Liepert and Jen Smith have got a grant and they have robots, and all the grade levels are going to be working with those. We're very excited about that. We have e-learning days. We did a good program with that. We're going to work on tweaking that a little bit too for next year. Easier homebound instruction. They can open the computer and they can talk face-to-face with the students. They don't have to go to a home or to be somewhere to join them. So that's been really good. The reevaluation of all district curriculum and systems. Effective and equitable interview and hiring processes, which Mr. Mathis talked about tonight. More teacher collaboration in developing the curriculum. The ed team has been out in the buildings. They've been talking about small group instruction. How does that work for you? What kind of interventions do you need? What programs do you like and dislike? We're still doing that. Developing consistent district procedures. We had a lot of building by building situations, right? When I first got here, parents would call and say, why are we doing this here, but my student's not doing that there? It would be the same grade level. So trying to have a consistent approach. We're working on that right now, trying to scaffold. Movement towards a more scaffolded approach to district curriculum. Talking to people, bringing in the stuff that teachers actually want, and focusing on standards, core standards that are important that students need to get to the next grade level. So, and you know what? I think a more comprehensive understanding of all the health and safety of everybody in the district, right? In the face of another health emergency. We learned so much. I'm sure there's more we have to learn, but I mean, just having a big picture of trying to manage it all. Behavior, sanitation, PPE, local communication. Dr. Keel and I met with local pediatricians, so they understood what our guidelines were. They didn't know. We walked in there, they had no idea what the ISB requirements were for schools. So we shared those with them. We had monthly meetings with them. It was great because if a student didn't have to wear a mask, it was kind of a huge ordeal. So we talked to them, they understood that. Having those communications with the community members, the stakeholders, is very important. So that's something else that we do. I think those are all very important. And what's next? What's on the horizon, right? New building and grounds improvements, HVAC, roofs, sidewalks, right? Parking improvements in front of Coolidge. We're taking the bus traffic off of Namiaki Road. We're putting it into the front. Things that have been problems in the district for decades. We're trying to address. The new bus company, hopefully to deal with some of the issues, being able to recruit more drivers, having air-conditioned buses, new GPS, everything on the buses. Every driver has a tablet which has uploaded their location. If they pass a stop, it beeps at them. There's all kinds of, in our 2023 buses that we're going to be getting for the fleet. New food service menus, menu items and procedures. Working through that, trying to make sure everything's safe and sanitized. Getting new products because people complain about grab and go, but the supply chain was so limited for food service. Being able to get certain things. He'd get a call the night before they were supposed to deliver carrots or something. They'd say, we don't have those. So he would have to figure out what he was going to serve. I mean, we just wanted to make sure that kids had food. It might not have been the most perfect thing, but we wanted to make sure we fed them. I think it's important. New sports facilities. trying to address needs. I know that girls softball was the only sport that wasn't on our campus. Athletic Director Mo talked to me when I first got here how important that was to try to do that, so that's one of the first things we addressed. Being able to have this turf field to utilize not just for sports, for band, for other things in the community, being able to have that for us and have that pride in our community and the consistency of playing conditions to from other school districts to ours. It just improvements in district communications. We have a new website. We have an app that parents can get to. It's just so much quicker for them to be able to get information out. Social media, we have a presence on there as well. I'm going to be starting to do, I did a video tomorrow, I'm going to do another video, so with new things. So I just think that just trying to be transparent as much as we can with everything going on, trying to make sure the community knows what we're doing and why we're doing it. And also more collaboration with community and business partners, you know. Oh, well, there's some Granite City, Pontoon Beach, Mitchell, 6 Mile Library District has been amazing. GC Park District, America's Port, local businesses. I know America's Port in particular has let us had the vocational kids that came in and had tours of businesses on site there. They've been to Icon Mechanical. They've done a lot of things. The library district has been great for disseminating information and providing places for people to go. Just Pontoon Beach and Mitchell, just talking to those officials about how the roads work, how are the bus routes going to be, trying to open those lines of communication. The city has been great, the sidewalk that was put in, trying to find some new ways to collaborate with them as well. So just making sure that we're touching all our bases. And most importantly, we've already done 5-year plans for our facilities. We're working on that, but we're going to start into a strategic planning phase, a 5-year strategic plan. Hopefully being able to start sometime this summer, probably takes up to 6 months. It involves stakeholders. We have an outside group that comes in and facilitates that so that we can actually have everything we're doing into a set plan that can continue in the right path over a long period of time so the momentum keeps going. So I think that is awesome. Yeah, I think that's just really important, but most importantly, the district couldn't have done any of these things without this progressive school board. I'm not just saying that because they're my bosses. I just feel like they are so open to change and reform, and they're supportive of it. And I just want you to know as a community how much they give of their time, how much they ask questions and make sure everything is what it should be. And so for their support moving forward, I couldn't thank them enough as well. And the community for having the patience through COVID and everything else to get us where we are now. I am so excited about the future and what it holds and how we're moving forward. So that's pretty much the gist. I just wanted to give a little background about what happened for the last 2 years.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay? What do you want?
I dare him to say, is that it?
Oh.
Is that all it is?
I know. I could have went a lot longer. I cut down like 10 slides.
I wrote down some that I was going to add to.
I'll probably also, I don't know, we're going to post some of the information to some of this PowerPoint on the website as well.
Great.
So,
Wonderful.
Great.
okay.
Fantastic job, really. I think on behalf of the board here, just incredible.
Yeah, you guys have been great.
And we appreciate the kudos on
Right.
from you to us, but
Right.
the same thing right back at you, because honestly, it is a great team here.
Oh.
It's just
And
phenomenal.
you've been a great leader.
That's a great word though, team. I feel like I couldn't ask for a better group of people to understand what we need to grow pride in the district, to do better by our students. I mean, that's right. I know it sounds corny, but the only reason any of us are here is for our students.
That's right.
That's why no one would be here. And so we have to remember that. And I try in every decision I make to make it always to think about where the kids are in that. So
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Call COVID-19 what you want, but it was a huge distraction.
Oh.
And just a huge time commitment on behalf of everyone. And I think you did a great job there laying it out as far as what happened,
Right.
what took place, and that sort of thing. But it's so good and refreshing to get back now to teaching the kids
Right.
in the ways that we know and new ways.
That's
and
right.
Thanks to people like Max who were able to bring yet new
Yes.
ideas and new concepts to us. And now just to be able to focus again on maintenance and
Oh,
improvements to the
improvements.
district and everything there, so fantastic.
It's
job.
pretty exciting time now in GC, right? So
Yes, absolutely.
we're moving forward.
Agree.
On the trend upward, we appreciate
And
that.
we seem to be better than we were.
Well, you always can improve, right? There's always room for improvement.
Fantastic. So continuing on, item 11C is Freedom of Information Act request.
Stephanie, there's two of them in there.
Yes, there's two. We received one request under the Freedom of Information Act during the period of March 12th, 22 through April 19th of 22. First request was received on March 16th from Timothy Oliver of Sycamore Learning. He requested the following information: student names, student grade levels, student's name of school, and parents' email addresses. The second request was received on April 11th, 22 from Michael A. McCall Delgado of Amalgamated Transit Union. He requested the following information: current contract between the district and First Student Bus Company for the provision of student transportation services, including all addenda, amendments, attachments, exhibits, and extensions. These were all handled by administration. Great job, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you. Fantastic, and that is there for information only. Items 11D and E are disciplinary actions with students. We will hold that for executive session just momentarily. Item 11F is district activity and memorial fund statements for March of 2022. That is there for information only. And with that, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session for student disciplinary matters under 2C9.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, aye. McMaster,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Holmesmeyer.
Aye, and the time is 8:22, and we are in executive session. And we appreciate everybody being here.